becoming the leader you're capable of being. Never stop learning. While one of the most recognizable leaders of our times, John F. Kennedy, stated that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. Honoring this spirit, my fellow leaders, WMC Toastmasters Club has prepared an exciting evening of learning ahead of you with a lineup of highly acclaimed and well sought out speakers. Leaders in their own right who continue to motivate and be a source of inspiration to all of us. Let us begin the evening allowing the captain of the ship for the term 2020-21, our beloved president, Toastmaster Yashodhan Abhyankar, to set the tone of our theme, Decoding Leadership.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Respected Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, panelists, area, division, and district officials, fellow Toastmasters and guests, very warm good afternoon to one and all. I declare our meeting number 400 to order. Even the officials from Toastmasters International Headquarters were supposed to join us today, but they are busy in their own meeting. They are sending their regards and best wishes to all of us. What is leadership? To me, leadership is leading a ship full of enthusiastic passengers, a ship which aims at a common goal. In this ship, there are passengers with varied experiences. Some are novice sailors, while others have faced fierce waters. In this ship, everyone is a leader in his or her own capacity, and everyone takes this ship closer to the destination, mile by mile. This ship, which is near and dear to everyone's heart, is named WMC Toastmasters. The leaders are made here, and the rough waters are afraid to stop the way of this ship from cruising forward. What makes leading this ship challenging is the fact that all passengers have very wide different range of needs, and that makes it more interesting. This is decoding leadership. We are discussing about decoding leadership in today's date, but a legendary person identified the need to groom the leaders way back in 1924. Yes, Dr. Ralph Smedley started this movement called Toastmasters. By now, it has spread over 143 countries with more than 16,200 clubs and 364,000 members across the globe. WMC Toastmasters is one of the vibrant clubs on this island. The new term of TMI started on 1st of July, and in the span of just over 2 months, we have already bagged 2 prestigious awards, Lead and Win September Award as well as Medley Award. Heartiest congratulations to Team WMC. Today we are celebrating our 400th meeting. There are some interesting motivational speeches as well as panel discussion lined up. I'm sure all of you are going to enjoy the meeting as much as I am. So friends, sit back and relax, learn and have fun. Dear Master of Ceremonies, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Toastmaster Yashodhan. Throughout the meeting, WMC is going to be showing a lot of videos, a few videos that basically highlight where WMC has come thus far. And right now, we will now present a video that charters the journey of the formation of the WMC Toastmasters Club in 2003.
Toastmasters grew out of an effort to meet the needs of a group of men in Bloomington, Illinois, more than half a century ago. In those days, I was a YMCA secretary. Many of the men with whom I was associated in that work needed help in talking and in meeting other people.
It is said that from little acorns grow mighty oaks. In July 2003, an acorn was planted in the Kingdom of Bahrain. This acorn had a name, WMC Toastmasters Club. With A.S. Jose as the founder, Matthew Umman as the sponsor, and T.L. Joy as the mentor, this acorn grew into a mighty oak. 20 charter members and several guests attended the formation meeting at the Carlton Hotel. I was privileged to be nominated as the founding president. The others in my team included Suresh Karnagaran as Vice President Education, Santosh Abraham as Vice President Membership, Alex N. Verghese as Vice President Public Relations, and Sajeev Menon as the Secretary. Of the 20 charter members, Ganapathy Narayanan and I continue to be active members to this day, as well as Rekha Uttam, who joined the club soon after. The challenges were many. WMC is an abbreviation for World Malayali Council. However, the first committee resolved to break free from the barriers of region, and soon WMC Toastmasters opened its doors to all, irrespective of language, region, or nationality. Here, I must acknowledge Suresh Karnagaran, who played a vital role in defining our club's goals and objectives. Though he relocated to India, his passion for the WMC Toastmasters still continues. Brick by brick, we built up the club. I recall with great pride the elaborate charter cum installation ceremony in the Toastmasters fraternity was first organized by WMC Toastmasters Club. The club members brought back laurels at the international level in the tape speech competition in 2004. WMC Toastmasters has organized many unique events which adorn the crown of our club. More about it as we proceed. For me, WMC Toastmasters is not just a club. It's my passion and a journey which has taught me a lot of lessons, not just in trying to master the art of effective communication, but also to imbibe the spirit of love, friendship, and brotherhood. Long live WMC Toastmasters.
Hearty congratulations for reaching the 400th milestone of Toastmaster meetings. And I recall 400 meetings ago, it all started as a big bang. And so many luminous stars evolved out of that. Dr. Babu, who triggered that, and then Suresh Karnagaran, Santosh Abraham, Rekha Uttam, Job Anthony, and Sajeev Menon, and many, many others. And I also recall two great personalities, Matthew Men and T.L. Joy, who minted a great club indeed.
In the Hall of Fame of WMC, I could see the portraits of many illustrious leaders, speakers, and organizers whose commitment and hard work paid off in making WMC a quality club and a standard club. The enthusiasm in the 400th meeting is no less than that was seen in the first meeting. Corona is a cruel disruptor, but the WMC keeps the communication strong with inventiveness and positive energy.
17 years and 400 meetings. It's a matter of great pride for all of us if you look back the birth and journey of this successful club. Today, we have grown to a beautiful young lady of sweet 17. The success of this club, the credit goes to all the presidents and the executive members who took this club to heights.
I was invited to one of the online meetings of WMC Toastmasters Club recently. It was like coming home after a long time, finding more faces that I did not know than the ones I knew. But yet, one thing remained, the unblemished, exemplary magic touch. WMC Toastmasters Club, you are a limited edition club. Don't let anything or anyone dull your sparkle. Go ahead, gallop ahead with even greater enthusiasm. 400 is a great number, but there are miles and miles to reach. I wish you good luck and Godspeed.
Amazing. A small acorn to a mighty oak tree. WMC, look how far you have come. Our keynote speaker for the evening has stood resplendent on the international stage in service to his nation, with an illustrious career in the Indian Foreign Service lasting 36 years, with his last stint serving as India's ambassador to France. Today, he remains in the forefront of global change in his capacity as the chairman of a very prestigious think tank, Research and Information System for Developing Countries, RIS, and is the Dean of Jindal School of International Affairs. It is our pleasure and privilege to welcome the former ambassador to the Kingdom of Bahrain, Professor Dr. Mohan Kumar.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Bahrain. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, good. So before some of you start wondering why I popped up suddenly 5 years after I left Bahrain, I have to start by saying that I'm grateful to the invitation of Ms. Rekha Uttam, which is the main reason I'm here, so thank you very much. The second reason, of course, is that my wife and I love Bahrain. This is not a great secret. Everybody knows this. And I can't possibly say no to Bahrain. So here I am 5 years after I left Bahrain, and it's wonderful to see some familiar faces, but I think the Indian expatriate community is dynamic because I see a lot of faces that I can't recognize as well. That's wonderful. So there are a lot of new faces, but I can certainly recognize many of you. I've been asked to say something on decoding leadership. I dare say it's like quantum mechanics, very simple and very easy, right? So it's one of those complex things, really, and you can spend a lifetime decoding leadership without quite knowing what it is that makes people tick in certain circumstances. But I'll begin by saying that it really depends on three things. One is the kind of leadership style that you choose to exercise. The followers are important, what kind of followers you have. And finally, of course, circumstances. So I'll use a few examples, if you like, from history, international relations to make my point. But as far as leadership styles are concerned, may I suggest strongly that those of you who haven't read should read Isaiah Berlin's essay on hedgehog and fox. It's a fascinating essay, and when he wrote it, he didn't quite know it was going to become so famous, but these are now known as leadership styles. A hedgehog is an animal which knows only one trick. A fox, on the other hand, knows many tricks, and therefore in management leadership styles, hedgehog is supposed to be a leader who has this vision thing, the big picture. Whereas the fox is a leadership style who masters technical details. When I joined the Foreign Service in 1981, it was said to us that we are the chosen ones and therefore we must all try to be hedgehogs and leave the technical details to lower mortal beings. But that's not quite true now. If you talk to Sundar Pichai, he will tell you that it's very important to be both a hedgehog and a fox, depending on the circumstances. And that's the first complexity of the equation. The second complexity of the equation is followers. I mean, it's hardly anybody's case that Chinese, Indians, Bahrainis, and Americans are all the same. And therefore, you can have one leadership style which works for all of them. No. So people are fundamentally different, and you need to adjust your leadership style depending on the followers. And finally, the circumstances. Look at India. We have two important crises at this time. One is the COVID crisis, obviously, with cases shooting up every day. The other is the border problem that we have with China. So you cannot argue that to tackle these two issues, you need the same leadership style. So this is the complex interplay of at least three things, and there could be more. You have leadership style, you have followers to shape his actions. A leader shapes the circumstances himself. That's what you do as a leader. And if you look at what Mahatma Gandhi did in terms of the independence movement for India, the easiest thing would have been to call on people to sacrifice their lives, use violence against this big British Empire. And yet that would have been the most futile course of action. It could have gotten India nowhere. So he shapes the circumstances by creating a new paradigm based on civil disobedience and non-violence. That is leadership for you. So the ultimate leader in my mind will always be Mahatma Gandhi. I'm going to conclude my brief address by providing two quotes which are interesting. One, that the greatest leader is not necessarily someone who does great things. He's the one who gets other people to do great things for him. Before you become a leader, you grow yourself. After you become a leader, you grow others. I thought that is the kind of symbiotic relationship that a leader needs to have with followers. One of the main reasons I'm here today, apart from connecting with friends and others in Bahrain, is that I'm extremely attached to the concept of WMC Toastmasters. I've encouraged my two children in Toronto, Canada, to actually be part of Toastmasters. Toastmasters renders yeoman service in allowing people to significantly improve their public speaking skills. And believe me, nothing is more important than that. I mean, I know it's important in my profession, and even in my current profession as a professor, communication skills are important. But for everyone, regardless of which vocation, calling you have, it's important to master public relation, and public speaking skills. So thank you very much once again. I want to thank Rekha Uttam. I want to wish Dr. Babu, whom I remember very, very well. I want to say hello to Mr. Abhyankar, and really greetings to all our friends and to indeed everybody in Bahrain. Thank you, Bahrain.
Thank you, Professor Mohan Kumar, for imparting those valuable pearls of wisdom that you've garnered throughout your illustrious career as a true leader. A true leader imbibes trust and credibility, competence and unconditional integrity. Before you go, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation. However, more importantly, we would like to acknowledge Mrs. Mala Kumar, who I understand is present here today, and who was instrumental in persuading her husband, Dr. Mohan Kumar, to agree to be our keynote speaker. Ma'am, good evening.
Unmute yourself. You need to unmute yourself, Mala.
Thank you so much for including me, and I'm very happy to see very familiar faces, and congratulations on your 400th meeting. So I'm very happy and pleased that you chose my husband to represent himself at this lovely occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But we'd actually like to know if you actually miss Bahrain, and what do you miss the most about it?
Oh my, that question is absolutely superfluous, because I mean, there's not a moment I don't miss Bahrain. I must say, I mean, I think I've left a piece of my heart there. And that's why I keep in touch with such lovely friends like Rekha Uttam, Meera Ravi, who I don't see today, Nivedita Datta and Nalini, and, wonderful people. And that's what is the essence of Bahrain, really. Bahrain, small island, big heart. That's what I would say, really. And lovely memories of Bahrain. And hopefully one day, my husband and I will visit again.
Oh, indeed, indeed. We're all looking forward to that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you, Dr. Mohan Kumar, as well. Indeed, it has been a wonderful learning experience. And now on with the show. Now, no occasion can be complete without a few words from our founding president. He needs no formal introduction, as he's well known, not only in the sphere of Toastmastering, but also as a humanitarian, having touched the lives of countless people in Bahrain and abroad. With a round of applause, please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Dr. Babu Ramachandran.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for that introduction. Dr. Mohan Kumar, sir, you really decoded leadership in a great way. I remember with passion when you spoke at our 200th meeting as our chief guest, and today here you are at our 400th meeting. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Mala, for persuading your better half to join us. Good evening, distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests, district area division officials. It's a matter of great pride for me as I address this wonderful gathering in a virtual way. WMC Toastmasters, which, as you have seen in the video, was started in 2003, and it had crossed many milestones. And what has been the key to the success of the movement, of the club, is the dedication of the members. The sincere, selfless support of the members has brought us to the 400th meeting. When this club was started, we did not know where we were going. We did not know where we would reach. But today I can say that my heart is full. And when the heart is full, the words are few. There were obstacles, there were hurdles, but there were achievements as well. Unique events which we held, film festivals, short play competitions, empowering others. My mind is full of the wonderful memories. seeing all of you on this platform. Thank you very much, dear friends, for sparing your time to be here. I know it's not a Thanksgiving speech, but I have to say this because you all have responded so well to our invitation and are here to share this glorious moment in our journey. But we don't intend to rest on our laurels. We have a magnificent team, a team of sincere members, and it's growing day by day. While empowering others, we also know that the world is today going through a pandemic from which we are not exactly sure when we will come out of, but there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. And as Toastmasters who master the art of communication and leadership, we can touch others. We can help others in this time of crisis. A helping hand to someone, a shoulder to cry on, that's all part of communication skills. And I implore all Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters to encompass the art of giving, to see that people who are in distress are soothed and they learn to live with COVID in the coming months. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And as Toastmasters, let's continue our journey to help those in need, along with learning about decoding leadership and mastering effective communication. The alumni members of WMC Toastmasters are also here. We have a forum, which is the WMC TMC Alumni Group. And this shows that the bonds that we generated over the years still continue wherever we are. Thank you once again, my dear attendees. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of the celebrations. Let's continue to achieve more and more milestones, not just in WMC Toastmasters, but in the Toastmasters fraternity all over the world. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Dr. Babu, for continuing to inspire us. It's said that communication is the bridging of one mind to another. And tonight, we will be able to delve into the minds of three distinguished speakers who are corporate leaders and entrepreneurs in the panel discussion coming up now. And to help us with this deep dive into decoding leadership, we have another distinguished Toastmaster who has been with WMC since the beginning, guiding the club to greater heights. The Iron Lady of WMC Toastmaster, DTM Rekha Uttam.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for that wonderful but predictable introduction. I am tired of being called the Iron Lady. I think I should soften up a little bit on you guys. Distinguished Toastmasters, my fellow members, the alumni of WMC Toastmasters Club, familiar faces, warm, loving faces, the district and division officials, good evening to you all. We bring you a small slice of a discussion on decoding leadership. Leadership has been disrupted with the pandemic and we see it floundering. We see some people succeed and some people really floundering with what to do with the leadership skills that they have, whether they should take it forward. And when we look at the word leadership, as His Excellency Dr. Mohan Kumar defined it, leadership is about the person. So we are going to nitpick a little bit and pick this leadership to the bone and see what insights we can take away. What are the lessons that these three people who are on our panel today, distinguished in their own right, what is the takeaway that they're going to give us? So let's begin by introducing the panel to you. Our first panel member comes from the land of Rumi and whirling dervishes, from the land of the Tigris and the Euphrates, a mechanical engineer from the University of Boğaziçi, and a master's degree in economic development from the London School of Economics. Melikşah Utku is the CEO of AlBaraka Bank, Turkey. He has been on the board of AlBaraka, as well as he is on the governance board of Marmara University. A gentle person, an intellectual in his own right, he will bring us his insight on how leadership is evolving in the field of finance. And from there, we go on to the next panel member. Again, he comes from an illustrious land where the oldest language in the world, Tamil, is spoken, the land of music and dance, and the mother of all cities, Chennai. Let's welcome Shyam Sekhar from Chennai, who is the founder of iThought and his believes in forging his own path towards leadership by founding companies in equity and financial consulting. He lives by the adage, be brave, take risks. Nothing can substitute experience. He's an engineering graduate from Annamalai University with a additional course from IIM Bangalore, but his expertise is in his entrepreneurial spirit, which has led him to find more value in advising people how to use their money wisely. And he is going to advise us or give us some tips on how to do this journey on our own of leadership. Welcome, Mr. Shyam. We also have a homegrown expert with us, Faisal Babu, who was a member of WMC Toastmasters from God's own country, Kerala, who had a vision much before or much beyond his own profession, which is in the IT industry. He is an IT governance and ERP expert for Gulf Drilling International. But his vision to found a school in his hometown, which took an effort of more than 10 years, is what makes him a leader worthy of his name in our annals. And here we welcome the three of you, and we would like to really listen to you, your personal experience on what leadership means to you. So I will go to Melikşah Utku first and ask him this question. What is the one core value that has sustained you in your leadership journey?
Thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful event. And I seem to have, I'm kind of sorry now that I've missed all these 399 meetings up until now, you know, with the sense and the excitement you have given us in the beginning. I'm really honored to be a panelist here. And I'm not exactly sure whether I can exactly give a very good guidance on leadership. We are living in an era where everything is changing, and I compare this to a period where we can now read it in the history books, the agricultural revolution, then the industrial revolution. Huge changes were done in technology, but those also brought huge changes to our mindset, the way we lived, the way we thought about the world, the way we related to each other. It changed the power structures, the institutions. But in the two previous revolutions, these took, these things happened over a period of 1,000 years in the first one and 100 years in the second one, a couple of hundred years in the second one. Now in the third one, the digitalization revolution, we're living everything. Everything is changing, relations, institutions, power centers, the way we look at the world and the universe and our lives. And these are happening in a period of years. And in the case of the pandemic, in a period of months, actually. And unfortunately, during these changes, it's very hard to rely on just experience and what we have done in the past to succeed. Things that have brought us success in the past, things we have learned in schools or things we took from our role models, they're not exactly going to work in this chaotic environment. For example, just one thing is during the agricultural revolution, humankind was a part of nature, and they used the nature to benefit themselves, to develop themselves, but they were still a part of the nature. Their determinism was externally driven. They were the victims sometimes of the weather, of whether it was dry or rainy. Then in the Industrial Revolution, that determinism changed internally. So the brain was the driving mechanism. We were sure to progress. We were always going to develop ourselves. The lesser developed regions were going to eventually catch the developed nations. That kind of determinism that was actually accelerated by globalization has obviously failed. We're a race that is very terrible at predicting the future, and at that time.
So, Mr. Melikşah, what is one personal value that has held you in steadfast?
That is what I'm coming. And we're now living in such a chaotic, a quantum determinism, that the probability is the waves driving you all around, that circumstances, that unknown in the future is going to be so huge. What drives me is that kind of excitement, that new things that we're going to change, the courage to face those, to try out new things, because we are all going to fail, and that doesn't scare me. That shouldn't scare any leader. They should be flexible and resilient to go on in this changing environment. I think that is what drives me and excites me.
Thank you.
In that given environment.
Thank you so much. And I think you have put the finger on the pulse by saying that these times require courage from us. And thank you for that insight. And I'll come back to you. Let us hear from Shyam as to what is the one core value that he feels has sustained his leadership journey. It's a singular journey alone, and then we would like to hear from you.
I think the field that I work in, crisis keeps coming every 8-9 years. And it is the role of leadership to use every crisis to grow. And growth has to be encompassing. It's not about just growing your wealth or growing your net worth or stuff like that. You have to grow the people who are with you, all the stakeholders, and you have to grow the entire ecosystem. When you grow the ecosystem, that helps you to consolidate your own position in whatever you do. And it also helps you gain from a crisis. And that essentially is how I see leadership. While in the financial world, crisis is inevitable. You will hit a crisis every 8, 9, 10 years. How you come out of a crisis and how you use that crisis to fuel your future growth is what leadership is all about. Your size can be anything. You could be a very big bank, like you have our great Indian corporations, or it could be a very small advisory firm. whatever be your size, the approach is rather similar. And if you notice what we have seen in India during this extraordinary, unprecedented economic situation that COVID has given us, everybody was forced to stop their economic activity, productivity briefly stopped, and the financial world alone was functioning. So how did different stakeholders make use of this? For us in the financial world, it was business as usual, but for others, it was quite devastating. And what did everybody do? One thing that I noticed with all leaders is that the first attention they paid to was to consolidate their resources. Businesses which are leaders consolidated their monies, they raised capital, clearly understanding that we are going into an era where the economy is going to shrink, which is unprecedented. We never had such a situation in 50 years. And also use this crisis to signal confidence. It's not just about consolidating your resources and preparing for crisis to extent, but also signaling confidence and how you engage with the world, showing business belligerence, like going forward rather than freezing, growing mind shares, taking the stakes higher, and moving the game away. I think that is what we have seen in this crisis at every level. Organizations, which whether they are leaders in different industries in our country or businesses which want to be seen as leading in their role played in the community that they serve. This has been that has
I can see how your word resonates with Melikşah's in the sense that you need to have the courage, then you need to have the courage to consolidate and then have the confidence to face whatever is coming. And then that is what leadership was all about. And I'm going to come back to you after we hear from Faisal Babu as to in the IT world, when they have been used to disruption on and off due to the digital transformation, but what value sustains them in disruption and what is the core value that they would cling to during any disruption or any leadership challenges? Maybe hear from Faisal Babu.
Thank you, Rega, for this opportunity. And it's great to see all the WMC members, former presidents, everyone. Well, I was just scrolling through the attendees. Okay, because I could see a lot of...
Babu, this would be one speech which you haven't rehearsed with the WMC.
Yes, yes, definitely.
All the best.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm coming back to your questions. Basically, when it is coming to the business world, this COVID-19 situation was the biggest testing ground for everyone. And if you look into the IT or digital transformation, any infrastructure kind of thing that drives the business, this was a situation that was tested very heavily, especially the business continuity plan. There were a lot of organizations, everyone will have a business continuity plan and they will test it, and but they will not experience it really. That testing actually it is more or less, maybe it is just for a compliance reason or maybe some regulators requirements, such kind of thing. Otherwise, some of the organizations obviously will experience some disaster and they will test it really. But this situation made everyone to test this business continuity plan very thoroughly. And those who don't have that clear-cut business continuity plan, they couldn't survive. And this COVID situation, drives a lot of innovations, especially in the digital transformation, and work from home become, it's a very easy case nowadays. Because I was just attending one of the panel discussion. One of the company in Oman, they're just planning to restructure their workforce right now. How many positions that can be directly done from home directly? Because that is one of the outcome of this particular COVID situation. Otherwise, they would have never thought of that. Because they found actually around 40 to 45% that can remain at home itself. So that is the kind of things, and every time, whenever there is any crisis or something comes, technology comes to, rebuild that things, and that helps a lot. And that is one of the major thing what I see actually, the innovations that that innovation become
innovation,
something.
yeah.
very critical in this time. And a lot of new technologies emerged, and the pace of development, companies has increased. Some of the products they release in 3 months, they wouldn't have thought of that. Otherwise, they would release it in 1 year.
Absolutely.
But they,
it's so true what you're saying,
those kind of
Faisal.
things. That's one of the things that are.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you should bring up business continuity plan on this day. If we remember, today is 9/11, and it is after 9/11 exactly that the world thought of business continuity. Till then, it was just not even a term or a jargon that was used. And when we look at it, innovation seems to be the word of the day, that we need to keep innovating ourselves, innovating our business, innovating in our personal life as well, in order to face this. So let me go back to Melikşah and ask this question, that due to the current disruption, what are the changes that you have had to make to your leadership style? Or was it necessary to make any changes to your leadership style, or did you have to make some changes?
Well, essentially, I was already pushing our organization to change with regards to digitalization, with regards to working from homes, with regards to flexible times, with regards to providing services no matter what, from anytime, anywhere. Banking is very regulated sector, and it does have crises now and then. And unfortunately, that regulatory environment doesn't usually help. Usually, regulatory environment is very reactionary. Things happen, and then they over-regulate. Then over time, they relax, and that relaxation is too much. And then you have another crisis coming after that. That kind of cycle actually has made banks very inflexible, very rule-based, very hierarchy organizations that are very hard to change. Unfortunately, even before this pandemic, we were facing huge changes in the sector. The way the fintechs are growing about was, putting a lot of challenge on the banks. And that already required banks to start changing anyway, even before the pandemic. But like I said, we're also trying to push, trying to lead the regulatory at the same time, because things like working from home doesn't have regulatory background or legal foundations as of yet in many countries. You can from a technology infrastructure, we did it in just a few days, and we reduced our people coming to the main head office without any hindrance to the business continuity from about 3,900 people to 50 people only. And we were able to sustain that service even with everyone working from home. But unfortunately, there are many complications, some of them legal complications, but also human resources wise also. You have to have more empathy-based leadership here, because the people don't know how to, the simplest thing is they don't know how to separate work and home in a place where it is always home. It's not, there's no office there, or and that kind of discipline, internal discipline, self-control requires a lot of empathy, retraining, restructuring of the mindset for the leaders also. All those changes happened with us during this period. In many cases, we were ready with regards to technology. Technology was not the issue. It's the human mindset. It's the culture. It's the leadership style, definitely.
Thank you, Melikşah. And what we understand, an empathy-based leadership is what we are looking at, and human resources has a huge role to play. I am an human resources professional myself, and your words resonate with me. And I'd like to ask Shyam this question, that what are the changes that you have made to your approach in business due to the current pandemic?
One thing is that the way you engage with various stakeholders, be it your colleagues or your customers, and the way in which you engage has changed dramatically. Earlier, meetings were fewer and far between, but once we opened out to digitization and reaching out people through video, I think the whole engagement process changed. And then the way in which different experts collaborate for the same customer, that is another thing that changed. And then the outreach, see, usually it's a customer who comes to you and says, what is it that I need to do? But COVID was an opportunity for the entire organization to think, what can we do for the customer? Because there are people who have home loans, there are people who had salary cards, there are people who had job losses, there are people who are underinsured. You know, the financial implications of COVID on different sets of people is so varied and vast that it's not right to wait for them. You go to them and then explain to them what they need to do, make it personalized, have multiple specialists talk to each person, and make them face this crisis in a manner in which they feel they are ready to face it and well equipped to overcome it. So the whole approach towards advice and solving a problem changed from approaching a problem when it comes to you to going towards the problem and proactively helping people prepare. So there is a certain change in the whole construct that we definitely did in this crisis. A simple example I would give you, everybody would have a home loan. The crisis had changed a lot of financial situations. So the simplest way in which somebody could be helped by helping them negotiate their home loan down and save money, which gives them a lot of psychological confidence that they would be able to face things better. Stuff like that changes people's perception about us and our own perception of how we serve people.
That is so true that we need to approach people with empathy, and different people have different needs, right? You would agree with me that the need is not the same, as Dr. Mohan Kumar himself also highlighted. So when we look at that, it is with empathy. And how would that resonate with you, Faisal Babu, as the founder of a school where education has been stopped and really the whole sector is floundering as to how to bring the children back to school? So what changes in your leadership style or in your governance style that you have had to incorporate? Could you enlighten us a bit?
Yeah, see, this COVID-19 situation was, one of the sector that is heavily affected is actually education sector, because education that was usually happening only from school itself, and the students cannot come to the school. And the first and primary thing that we have done is actually to establish a platform that can deliver the online classes, and that through some trusted sources we want to use, because we have so much of students connecting online, and that was the toughest part. And actually that is for the first thing. And the next one, actually none of the teachers are they are not trained to deliver the classes online. That is another part. And at the same time, we want to just train the entire parent and student community in order to utilize this platform and to attend a class, and how to respond and how to attend an assessment over there, and all the education assignments and whatever the things that we deliver on a regular basis in the school, that we have to deliver on an online platform, and the students need to get trained over there. And that was the toughest part first. And next, actually, this has given a lot of opportunity as well, because when the classes are delivering online, you are really seeing the quality of the teachers, basically, because there are difference of eyes that is waiting there to, to assess the quality of teaching. So that is the second part. What we did actually, we were started screening what to air and what not to air, and who can teach online, who cannot teach online. Such kind of separation we have made, and we started slowly delivering maybe 2 sessions per day, like that. So then gradually we build a team, and within 1 month of time, we got sustained. And in addition, another thing actually, this COVID brings actually the cost optimization part actually. That, see, not only because of the COVID, see, when you work remotely, you will come to know actually which are the positions that really need for the organization. because there may be a lot of fat position that is coming and going in the office, but when it is coming to a pandemic, the result has to be communicated, right? So that is very much exhibited. So that was one of the opportunities, and that is the second part. We did a lot of cost optimization in terms of administrative cost and all. That was the second one, and then things are normal right now. Okay.
So have the children come back to school, or
not yet? Not yet.
How have they taken to this online? I keep seeing cartoons where the mother is in front of the computer and the child is running around behind her. You know, that's what's be happening at home, and the mothers are stressed a lot.
Yeah. See, what we have done actually, we have incorporated a lot of entertainment activity as part of the online class. Because, for example, around 4 sessions are there for the teaching. Maybe you will find one day just a music event kind of things. Just for some of them, you know, some of the drawing classes, some of the public speaking kind of thing. A lot of entertainment activities are incorporated because we want to keep the students. And the toughest part is actually the smallest children. They just want to start their school, but unfortunately they have to do it online. That was the toughest part. And so there is some, and definitely we will face some issue, but otherwise it is fine.
Right.
And in order to make the parents also, you know, a lot of entertainment activities to incorporate, otherwise it will not work out.
Right, I can understand. Thank you, Faisal. And I would like to go back to Melikşah and say, and would you like to talk about any experience or any incident that touched you at this time from the employees or from your customers, which touched a chord in you?
We definitely have. I mean, it has been a very interesting period for all sectors, for all services sectors, especially. We have customers that are old, for example, and in many countries, and it was the case in Turkey, that people over a certain age, 65, weren't allowed in the streets for a certain period of time, and it was during this time that we had to go to their houses to provide services, for example, to provide them cash. They couldn't go out to the ATM to withdraw their retirement payments. So in many of such cases, we were, they almost started hugging. They wanted to hug the people who came with the cash for because. And you cannot hug, during this time. It was such, when they told me about these stories, I was, very touched. We also have a very interesting, I kind of like it because we all obviously, like many sectors, we also, started doing our call center services from houses. And actually the efficiency and the SLAs for call services, for the calls, responding to calls, have actually increased tremendously. And in some cases, this was the case even with with our agents holding their babies on their laps, and it kind of resonated with the callers, and when they heard the babies crying and things like that, and it has become a kind of fashion now. Because it has become a kind of thing to hear a call center calling you with children in the background. This is something that, as a bankers, where we are all ties and suits and we want the rules. This is very human for us, and I think that is very nice
to see the family as well.
Definitely.
Impact, And before, in my last round, as we wind up this discussion, which has been so meaningful, let me ask Shyam, what is the one advice or takeaway that you would give such a forum such as ours on the skills that we need to acquire to become leaders?
I think constantly preparing for disruption is going to be the one skill that will sustain leadership in the future. What disruption we have seen in the last 20 years will be very less compared to what we will see in the next 20. So as we see disruption gain momentum in the next 20 years, leadership would be tested in how it prepares and is always ahead of disruption, always ready to embrace it and use that disruption productively for them, for the leadership, for the organization, and for all the stakeholders. So I think that preemption and proaction is going to be the order of the day, and that is what leadership will be required to bring forward in these times. And
being prepared, I think a sense of readiness to face anything that comes your way, that seems to be the quality that we all need to develop. And I'm sure you will agree with me when I say that if you want to meet any challenges, then you need to be flexible and you need to be able to adapt. And like you rightly said, you need to be able to consolidate your resources. And thank you for that wonderful insight. And let me ask Faisal, what is the one advice that you would give aspiring entrepreneur, someone with a visionary dream of fulfilling an ambition, or just facing disruption as we all are? What is the one takeaway that you would like to give us?
I couldn't hear your questions because there was some disruption.
What I'm asking you is that what is the one takeaway that you would like to give a forum such as ours regarding disruption, regarding the change?
Okay. Regarding the disruption, see, it's every disruption, it is an opportunity, first of all. Okay. That as leaders, we have to find a solution for that, because these are the challenges that come across in front of a leader, and the leader has to find a solution. Leader cannot be stuck over there. That is the first thing. So we have to be very courageous and we have to find a solution. And at the same time, we have to find a sustainable solution, because we cannot change the solution each and every time, because some disruption comes. There should be a sustained solution. You know, in the first speech, His Excellency already said, you know, that has to have a clear vision, and we have to frame something that is within hours in order to meet that requirement. The same way. So we should have a vision. Same way. That is the only thing. So I don't have much to say about this.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that need to have a sustainable plan that will hold you in good stead during change is the most important thing. And if the audience has any questions, they could type it in the chat box. I think we have time to take one or two questions, but I'd like to sum it up with Melikşah as to what is the one advice that you would like to give us, Mr. Melikşah.
We don't know what is coming. We just know that it's not going to be easy or very good. It's going to be challenging. We need to be prepared to face anything. Like you said, we're going to make a lot of mistakes. We're going to hit the walls. The most important two things are going to be important: to be flexible. That means a huge mindset shift. We need to change the way we take decisions and rethink organizations, and learn from mistakes. And the second is resilience. Never give up, because innovation is about trial and error, and learn from your mistakes. This is a time to just try that.
I understand that. And when you said that learn from your mistakes, I think the first thing that comes to you is that if you want to learn from your mistakes, then you have to admit your mistakes first, right? Definitely. Which is what leaders find it most difficult, to admit that the course of action or the direction that a company or a person is going is wrong, and we need to recalibrate and change directions. How difficult that is, Shyam.
Can I just add something?
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Shyam. Just people are going to look at you, and you have to establish trust. And what you said is very important. You have to be honest with the people that you're trying to lead, and that trust is built on that honesty and admitting mistakes and that human susceptibility. I think that builds trust in this environment. That is very important. I think what you said just underlines everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Melikşah. Shyam, would you like to add to that?
I think that if I would go to the point which His Excellency made about President Kalam and taking responsibility for the mistakes and giving them the success. I think today morale is going to be the biggest driver of every organization from the present into the future. And I think that leadership should take full ownership for the morale and drive that higher and higher and higher, so that people start delivering and start taking the organization forward and higher. So I think that that is going to be the immediate priority, because people have really risen to the occasion during this crisis, because it has been quite an extraordinary crisis. And if you see, organizations have had at various levels foot soldiers taking responsibility and performing under very, very difficult situations. That has to basically be recognized, and leaders should give credit to people, more credit than they usually do, so that the people believe more in themselves and in their organization.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much for that insightful observation, that what you say is so true, that people have risen to the occasion at all levels. It's not just at the leadership level, but you see at every level people reaching out to each other and people wanting to help each other. And I see it in Bahrain on a daily basis, where nationality, color, race does not seem to matter. Somebody asked me the other day for a loan of a small amount. And when I asked her, why do you need this? She said, the vegetable shop vendor, who's a Bangladeshi near my house, he's completely broke. I want to give him some money so that he can roll his business. And I thought that was such a wonderful gesture from a lady from the Philippines. And here she is, not looking at whether they are our people or their people. It is just about a humanitarian need. And it brings us back to the whole concept of having empathy in leadership, courage in leadership, and consolidating your mental resources, physical resources, and your wealth, right? So that is what is the conclusion. And I have a question here from Surya Narayana. This question is for Shyam, and it says, when this economy will be back to normal from this when will this economy be back to normal from this pandemic situation? Shyam, this question is to you.
See, first, we are in a year where the economy is going to shrink. The subsequent year, the economy will go back to where it was before COVID. I would be very happy if in the next financial year, economies go back to where we were pre-COVID. I suspect that it would slip even into the third year before we go back to where we were before COVID. The last 10% of growth is going to be a steep climb for economies. We will go back to 90% very easily, but the last 10% climb is going to be a very steep climb for most economies. So I think that that is where the big test is going to be. So at least another year, another financial year, leaving out this year, and probably another half year after that is what I think will take us back to where we were before COVID.
Absolutely. You said it. I mean, a year or two is what they are predicting. And we have a question for you, Mr. Melikşah. How do we keep employees motivated during the current situation? As the CEO of the company, what are the drives that you have taken?
Well, the CEO, I believe, is a representative and a protector of the rights of different stakeholders, be these owners, whether they are customers. But I think one of the most neglected stakeholders are the staff themselves. I believe that institutions rise and fall because of the employees that they have. And we have seen this especially in the financial sector. Unfortunately, CEOs only look at that stakeholder when they're preparing the budget, how much raise they will be giving, and they usually leave all of that to human resources. And in many cases, this is a very tedious and bureaucratic work. I think being there next to them in the field, fighting with them in the market is very important. I'm currently not in my office. I'm in Bursa, another city of Istanbul. I have been going around with speaking with the staff of the branches, 9 branches. I listen to each one of them to see how they're facing the pandemic, what kind of problems they have faced. I'm not leaving this, I'm not delegating this job to anyone because I believe, first of all, it's very important to have a clear channel of communication. Secondly, I believe that being here with them during the pandemic, I think that is the most important motivational energy that they could ever have.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, the 3 of you, for really enlightening us. And I really love to conclude with what you said about listening to each and every one of your bank's branch managers and then taking it from there, though you are not physically present. And as leaders, listening is the key to leadership. And it's rightly so that in the Toastmasters Forum, that is one of the first things that is taught to us. And I would like to conclude by saying that thank you for the insights of courage, consolidation, empathy, and listening powers that we need to develop within ourselves to develop our leadership skills. Thank you wholeheartedly from WMC Toastmasters for you to take time out from your busy schedules and be present here. And we hope to see you in our other forums as well. Thank you, Mr. Melikşah. Thank you, Shyam. And thank you, Faisal.
Thank you very much.
Over to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Rekha ma'am. Wow, what an amazing panel session. What an amazing discussion. True leaders emerge during a time of crisis. And that is what we've heard from 3 inspirational leaders. And we've been able to learn a lot from them. But before you go, we'd actually like to present a certificate of appreciation. First, to Mr. Melikşah Utku. Well, here we have Mr. Faisal Babu being presented first.
That's okay. Sometimes
okay. And then we also have Mr. Shyam Sekhar.
Change.
Yes, I see. Person is still here.
Okay.
Okay. Don't worry, we will make sure that the certificates of appreciation reach you digitally as quickly as possible. But once again, thank you for that amazing session. I'm sure all of us have been just busy, just dwelling and in all that we could take from these 3 speakers. So in the meantime, it's about leaders who are influential in our lives. And WMC has been truly influential in many people's lives. According to John C. Maxwell, leadership is influence. And now we're going to see a video presented by Toastmaster Apurva and Toastmaster Ganapati, highlighting WMC's influence in Bahrain.
The Youth Leadership Program is a workshop consisting of 8 2-hour sessions that enable young people under the age of 18 to develop their communication and leadership skills through practical experiences. WMC Toastmasters has a long history of conducting YLPs for various organizations like the Indian Ladies Association, St. Mary's Church, Maharashtra Mandal, and St. Paul's Church. We have conducted 2 YLPs in a year till recently, and for St. Paul's Church, we have conducted at least 3 YLPs. Let us now hear from the coordinator of St. Paul's Church YLP, Toastmaster Dinosh.
It was the year 2016 when we teachers of St. Paul's Mathoma Sunday School were thinking of ways how to help our students in improving their communication and leadership skills. we were introduced to WMC Toastmasters Club. We conducted the YLP during the summer vacations that year. The team from WMC Toastmasters were professional, well organized, and conducted the 8 sessions wonderfully. Since 2018, we were looking to start our own club. And after several months of hard work and support from many members of the Toastmasters fraternity, we chartered our club in June 2019.
WMC Toastmasters inherited the Gavels Club when DTM A.S. Jose took up other social work projects. We have had an illustrious list of coordinators for the Gavels Club like Gayatri Kamath, Rekha Uttam, Ganpati Narayan, Dr. Usha Devraj, Anita Komath, and currently Toastmaster Ponnambalam, who carries forward the legacy by being the longest serving coordinator. Toastmaster Ponnambalam will now share with us what the Gavels Club does and how it has brought in a new meaning to his life.
In WMC Gavels Club, we engage in open conversation with each Gavelier right from the stage of topic selection. This conversation provides an opportunity to broaden their scope of thinking so that they have a wider view of the world and form their opinions. In this process, utmost care is being taken to allow them to be what they are. Let me take this opportunity to share that WMC Gavel Masters also takes immense pride and joy in celebrating this milestone meeting of our Parents Club with you all.
Speechcraft is an 8-week adult program developed to allow participants to understand the concepts of leadership and public speaking. At WMC Toastmasters, Speechcraft has been redefined to match corporate training modules in presentation skills and leadership. Babco Toastmasters was conceived through a Speechcraft conducted by WMC Toastmasters, who then went on to become the sponsoring club of one of the largest and most vibrant Toastmasters Club on the island today. Mr. Hussain Al-Ansari, the founding president of the club, has always been a well-wisher and benevolent benefactor to WMC Toastmasters. And we are indebted to Babco for supporting us to realize our cherished dreams as a club. Past Area Director Toastmaster Majid will now throw some more light on this invincible connection between Babco and WMC Toastmasters.
It gives me immense pride and pleasure to be part of this prestigious event of celebrating the WMC Toastmasters Club 400th meeting. The club that has contributed a lot to the Toastmasters movement in Bahrain. As we all know, Babco Toastmasters Club is a product of WMC Club. This goes back to 2006, when DTM Dr. Babu Ramachandran and his colleagues approached Mr. Hussain Al-Ansari to start a Toastmasters Club at Babco. In February 2007, a Speechcraft workshop started in Awali. WMC Club, with its vibrant Toastmasters, ran 8 of the best Speechcraft sessions I have witnessed in my journey as a Toastmaster. The same year, Babco Toastmasters Club was officially chartered. Today, Babco Toastmasters Club is flourishing like no other time with its keen and energetic members.
WMC Toastmasters is indeed privileged to have conducted 3 Speechcraft sessions for American Mission Hospital. This initiative was taken by a founding president, DTM Dr. Babu Ramachandran. The coordinator for the AMH Speechcraft was none other than our DTM Rekha Uttam, who steered the WMC team to deliver a much appreciated and valuable training session for the frontline workers in the healthcare industry. Mr. Sam Arasaratnam, Senior Staff Training and Development Officer at AMH, will now tell us a bit more about this journey.
Communication ranks among the top 5 learning needs at the American Mission Hospital. We were keen to provide our people with a world-class public speaking experience. The speechcraft delivered by the WMC Toastmasters has simply blown our minds off. We had nearly 60 employees savor this entertaining, exuberant learning initiative. We had our physicians, our nurses, our pharmacists, our employees from finance, IT, quality, laboratory, biomedical, and insurance all coming together.
WMC Toastmasters Club has taken the leadership and public speaking skills of each and every one of us to a greater dimension. WMC Toastmasters Club is known as a powerhouse of talents. It is today acknowledged as the most innovative Toastmasters Club in Bahrain. Let us hear from a few people for whom this innovation has been an inspiration to start their own journey fulfilling a long cherished dream. Here is one personality who, being an IT specialist, has started an international school in his hometown in Kerala. Let us hear from Mr. Faisal Babu, founder and managing director of Jump Forward World School.
Once Mr. Haridas was practicing a speech titled Dreams at Kano School, Bahrain, and I shared a dream about starting a school. He really fueled the inner fire in me. In the year 2008, I met with Ms. Rekha. For long 8 years, she listened to my dreams. That patience and continuous encouragement was the major driving force in materializing my dream. In year 2017, she joined the launch of Jump Forward World School in Kerala. Now, she is supporting me as one of the directors of the school.
WMC Toastmasters has truly impacted the lives of its members, both present and past. Let us hear from Mr. Job Anthony, Managing Director, Steadfast International, who took the bold step to becoming an entrepreneur.
In 2003 to 2013, when I walked out from the club, I have started a business. In the next 2 years, I will be setting offices in all GCC countries, and this is my dream. So Toastmasters, simply dream big. You can and you will be able to achieve your dream because you are a product of WMC Toastmasters.
After that heartwarming story, let me take you to someone who found his true vocation in life through art with the help of WMC Toastmasters. Here is the person who has received rich theatre experience from WMC Toastmasters Club through its full-fledged drama, The Last Shade of Grey, and from the film festival Synergy 2008 conducted by WMC Toastmasters Club. He has acted and has been part of short films and movies. Let us hear from Mr. Manoj Kumar, the cine artist.
If you are looking to improve your leadership skills, start by becoming an active participant in everything around you. And this is exactly what I learned from WMC Toastmasters Club. I joined WMC Toastmasters Club in the year 2007 and served the club as Treasurer and Vice President Public Relations. My achievements after joining WMC Toastmasters Club are many, but today I want to focus on my biggest passion, which is acting. Yes, you heard it right. I am Manoj Mohan, a theatre and film actor, and I am proud to tell you that my journey of acting reached its pinnacle after joining WMC Toastmasters Club.
WMC Toastmasters would like to remember an eloquent speaker, a lady of power, a lady who inspired and helped many Toastmasters on this island in their journey of communication and leadership, Dr. Usha Devarajan. Our Usha Chechi will always remain in our hearts, not only as an inspirational person whom we respect and admire, but also as a source of motivation and rejuvenation. She left us in the year 2018, leaving a vacuum in the hearts of Toastmasters fraternity. We bow with respect and love and admiration to her immensely generous spirit. the journey of WMC Toastmasters continues with even greater enthusiasm.
We will now hear from a Toastmaster who is one of the foremost well-wishers of WMC, the former GM of BAPCO and someone who was instrumental in the formation of the BAPCO Toastmasters Club as its founding president. With a round of applause, please welcome Toastmaster Hussein Al-Ansari.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. Honorable guests, distinguished Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to each and every one of you. I am indeed honored and privileged to address such a distinguished group of people on the occasion of WMC 400th meeting. I have been allocated very little time for this felicitation. So I will follow the advice of Ronald Knox that this speech should be like a woman's skirt, interest, but long enough to cover the essentials. My association with WMC, this extraordinary Toastmaster Club in Bahrain, goes back to 2006, when Dr. Babu Ramchandran encouraged me to create a Toastmaster Club in BAPCO. For those people who don't know BAPCO, it is the Bahrain Petroleum Company. I told Dr. Babu at that time that I was a very busy man. I used to work almost 10 to 12 hours a day. But he assured me that this takes only very little time, 2 meetings a month, about 4 hours per month. That statement was a little far from the truth. And to put it in Rekha Otham's words, it is a dark shade of gray of the truth. Nevertheless, we at BAPCO started the Toastmaster journey, during which I had the privilege to get to know the backbones of WMC. People like DTM Dr. Babu Ramchandran, distinguished Toastmaster Rekha Otham, whom I have named the Walking Dictionary, director of The Last Shade of Grey, and Dr. Suresh Karnakaran, and many others. These distinguished, dedicated people have made the WMC as an extraordinary club in Bahrain. These people, when we formed BAPCO Toastmaster, they held our hand and showed us the path, the long journey of the Toastmasters. like lighting our candles with their lit candles and shedding light on the path. WMC taught us to be weavers, like the Persian carpet weavers who use colorful silk threads and skillfully weave them together to create such a beautiful carpet. We were taught to use the raw material, which are words, and weave them together in a very skillful way to create a mosaic of words. Rudyard Kipling said, words are the most powerful drug used by mankind. As Dr. Babu stated in his opening film, Toastmasters not only teach us to become eloquent speakers, but it teaches to become an effective member in the community, to become a member of the wider Toastmaster family. I have had the great pleasure through this journey to get to know so many people and learn from them, from all walks of life, from all corners of the earth. Effective communication is so powerful that it can make diverse cultures come together and coexist in harmony, unison, and tranquility. I thank WMC for all what they have taught me personally and those members of Babco Toastmasters Club. That journey in Babco is still continuing, thanks to WMC. Best wishes for the future. Good evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hussain. There is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. Zig Ziglar. Our next speaker and guest of honor is no stranger to these stairs, having climbed them from one international corporate to another. And today, as the chief evangelist of one of the largest and influential companies in the world. But wait, let us first hear who he is and what he does from his lifelong friend, DTM Babu Ramachandran.
Thank you. Good evening. Can you all hear me? Am I audible? Yes. It's a great pleasure and privilege indeed to welcome a dear friend of mine. And after having climbed the elevator to success, and that too, when the elevator was not working properly, he had to climb it all the way. Gopi Kallayil. Today he represents one of the largest tech companies in the world, Google. And as its chief evangelist, he's going to give a talk on 3 important leadership and innovation principles of Google. On a personal note, I have known Gopi for over, let's say, more than 20, 25 years. And he was instrumental in introducing me to the world of Toastmasters. A very meticulous gentleman, a down-to-earth individual, and simplicity is his hallmark. I had the habit of waking him up in the middle of the night and telling him, hey, Gopi, what's this? How can you help me? And he has always responded positively. I don't want to take more of his time, as he's a busy person and has got another meeting scheduled soon. Welcome, Gopi. Over to you.
Thank you, Babu. Good afternoon, everyone. Shalom, salam aleik. Bonjour, grüß Gott, namaste, namaskaram, wherever you are. It's an honor and delight to be here. And as Babu mentioned, I work for a small internet company called Google, and Google is just 21 years old, which means if it was a human being, it would just be graduating college. But 21 years ago, Google was a really tiny company in a garage, or as we would call it in our part of in Asia, a car shed. And sitting in the car shed, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, these two 25-year-old dropouts from the Stanford PhD program, came up with a mission statement for this company that they were setting out to build. And the mission statement was just 10 words, 10 words. Organize the world's information, make it universally accessible and useful. And in 10 words encapsulated what they were trying to build. This was 21 years ago, remember, not too long ago. And back then, what they started building was a very simple, crude website. It worked only in the English language, and it had a little white box, and it could do only one thing. You typed in a word or a phrase, it would give you a list of web pages that had the same word or phrase. Rudimentary by today's standards, but considered pretty amazing back then. But then you fast forward 21 years later, that little white box that did that fundamental search can do lots of amazing things. In fact, you can even talk to it. Let me give it a try and see if I can make it do that. Okay, Google. What is Picasso's full name? Oh, the voice search I want to demonstrate. Let me give it one more try. What is Picasso's full name?
His full name was Pablo Diego José Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno María de los Remedios Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad Ruiz y Picasso.
So it's able to give his full name in the Spanish lineage of all the 16 forefathers. I can even have a conversation with it. Let me give this a try. Who is he married to?
He was married to Jacqueline Roque and Olga Koklova.
So like a real human, I'm able to even have a complete conversation. And what is remarkable about this, we take this for granted. But if you think about this, I'm holding a little inanimate object in my hand, and I asked us, who is he married to? What do I mean by he? But we expect the device from the context to understand that we are still talking about Pablo Picasso and not skip a beat. And this is the amazing thing that the product, that just the search capability has evolved to. But there was something else that happened here. This was a complete miracle. This is one of the most complex problems in computer science that you just witnessed being solved. The scientists had said for years that this problem cannot be addressed. And that is the fact that this device, the size of a deck of playing cards in my hands, was able to recognize an Indian man, that too from Kerala, speaking in English. That was considered a complete miracle, and we managed to solve the problem. It was considered impossible. As Babu would say, how was it doing it? But back to the things that we've been witnessing, that is just one of the products. But along the way, in the 21 years, what has happened is this company and its leadership principles have allowed us to create 9 products, each of which is used by at least a billion people every single month, a metric of success we use. So I'll tell you which those 9 are so you get a sense of the scale. Count 1 if you use search in the last month, Google search. You know, all of you are holding up one finger. 2 if you use Gmail in the last month. 3 if you use Google Maps in the last month. 4 if you used YouTube. 5 you used Chrome. 6 if you used Android. 7 if you used Google Photos. 8 if you use Google Docs. 9 if you use Google Play Store to download an app or this thing. These are the 9 products, right? A billion people. So the question is often asked, this is the question Babu was asking me to address. He said, how is it possible that a 21-year-old company has been able to create so much innovation, and often in areas that they have nothing to do with, like life sciences and transportation? So in response to that, I wanted to talk about, there are some core innovation and leadership principles that we see at work at Google. And today in the 20 minutes, I'd asked Babu for an hour. He said, you don't have the time. He said, I'll give you 20 minutes. So like any true Toastmasters, I distilled down. And I'll talk of 3 of those principles today. The first of those principles is a concept called innovation comes from anywhere. I hope you're able to read it. Innovation comes from anywhere. And what do we mean by this? Innovation is our lifeblood. This is what we are known for. And in most large corporations, there is an innovation department. There is a chief innovation officer. You'll find one at Nike, you'll find at GM, 3M has it, GE has it, but at Google, there is no innovation department. There is no chief innovation officer. So you might wonder, how is it possible? How is it possible that in a company known for innovation, there is no innovation department? And that's because Larry and Sergey, the 2 founders, right from the beginning have insisted that it is the entire company's job to be innovative. And when you give that kind of freedom, when every employee is given the permission to say, I can be innovative, even if my job is not in research or engineering. So you could be a massage therapist at Google or a bus driver, and you're expected to be innovative and come up with solve problems in an innovative way. Let me give you an example. And this example is through the story of a friend of mine, Dmitry Kanavetsky, who sits right across in the building from where I used to sit when we were able to go into work. Now, Dmitry is originally from Russia. And Dmitry has one problem working anywhere, and that is he's been deaf from the age of 1. So if I have to communicate to Dmitry, I go and tap him on the shoulder, and he'll signal to me saying 1 minute. And he will then go into the internet and reach out for a volunteer interpreter for the hearing impaired. And then this third person drops into a meeting via video, and then we can have a 3-way conversation. So there's always this friction before we can start a meeting or a conversation with Dmitry. And then one of Dmitry's colleagues, Chet, said, we should be able to solve a problem. And at this minute, I'll just pause for a minute. So Babu, tell your tech person to get the video ready in a second or so. I'll ask for the first video to be played. Okay, so before he's getting that video going, thank you. So Chet said, we should be able to solve this problem. So between the 2 of them, using all of the technologies that they had, between voice recognition, phones, the capability I showed you, they put something together. Now, the rest of the story, I'll have Dmitry narrate by playing a short video. And before that, you please pay attention to the closed captioning, because it's sometimes hard to understand Dmitry. Remember, he was deaf from the age of 1. So growing up in Russia, the only way he learned English was by reading the language using the Russian phonetic. So he pronounces things a certain way, and there's no way to correct him because he cannot hear a native language speaker. And now, can we roll the Dmitry video, please?
I'm set. Yeah. Ready?
I completely lost hearing when I was 1 year old. Technology provides tremendous opportunities to help people with disabilities. I'm a research scientist at Google, and I'm developing speech recognition in technology. Speech recognition accuracy finally became so good that I could fulfill my dream for whole life, to use speech recognition to communicate with people. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, and how are you?
I'm doing good. What can I get you today?
I would like tea. Live Transcribe is an application that runs in Android. It provides transcription of speech for deaf and hard of hearing in real time.
Dmitry worked with the speech team to develop that technology, and Google has made strides in this in the past couple years, but the app itself is what I've been working on. I'm not an Android engineer. I saw an opportunity for something useful and dug into that and kind of evolved naturally.
Did I already mention to you I'm having one of my famous
chili parties this weekend?
This was something that was born out of Dimitri's needs. All the technology existed already. It was kind of just a matter of hooking the wires together. Gallaudet University.
You can stop the video. Yeah, thank you.
Deaf and hard of hearing in the world.
Babu,
really.
we can stop the video.
Sure.
See how people are.
Stop the video.
Yeah, you take it off the screen, please. Thank you. So that's an example where these two gentlemen, along with a group of other Googlers, went and worked on it, even though they'd not been told specifically to work on it. Chet, for example, says, I'm not even an Android engineer. He just saw an opportunity. This is the kind of results we get when we give people unlimited freedom. And that product called Live Transcribe is freely available. It's free for anyone in the world to use. It works in Arabic, it works in Malayalam. So all of a sudden, people with hearing impaired now have a free product thanks to the leadership principle at work, these two gentlemen, assuming that they have the freedom to innovate. The second innovation principle I wanted to talk about is called Think 10X. Think 10X. And this is something Larry Page, it's a mantra that he instilled in us. And the idea being, don't think 10%, but think 10X. The concept behind that is in every organization, anywhere in the world, people come into work and their goal might be to make things better, products better, services better. And in a very sincere fashion, they might make it 10% better, in which case you made progress every day. If you made your car 10% faster, if you made your oil production process 10% better. But the fear at Google is that if we continue at that 10% better phase, we'll just become a company of incremental improvements. And in 20, 30 years from now, Google won't exist. And if you think is that even possible? Yes, look at the history of the tech industry. All of the great companies that used to make phones or it used to make computers, etc., previous generation, from BlackBerry to Nokia to Compaq, all of a sudden, they are just no longer in existence. And that's because it's not that they stopped innovating, they were innovating, but at an incremental pace, and they're building on top of what they already have. So to break us from that mold, the operating principle, the leadership principle at Google is try to make things 10x better, 10 times better. Can you make something 10 times faster? Can you make something 10 times cheaper? And when you are given that as a challenge, the brain works differently. It forces you to think and organize in a way that you would not have otherwise. I'll give you an example of that in practice. To make this 10x concept work, three things have to come together at Google. First, we look at a really big problem that's in the human condition that's not been solved. And second, we imagine crazy solutions to solve the problem. And by design, it's intended to be, we come up with solutions that are almost insane, lunatic. And the reasoning behind that is that forces the brain to think out of the box and not be limited by the constraints that exist today. So big problem, crazy, outlandish solutions. And then to bring it down to earth, we ask the question, are there any breakthrough technologies that can take this conceptual solution and make it practical? So for example, one of the big problems that exists in the human condition is that 1.8 million people die every year on the average due to auto accidents. That is the size of the population of San Francisco and neighboring Marin County put together. Imagine if I told you that we would pick some city in the world with 1.8 million people and wipe out that entire city and do it again the next year. And this was entirely preventable. This would be outrageous. You would say, how can we let that happen? And yet we allowed that to happen every single year. People die in auto accidents. 94% of those are caused by what? Human error. Human error. People drink and drive, they fall asleep, they have arguments, they get distracted, they're texting and driving. So that was the big problem. And the team came up with this outlandish solution. Let's take the human out of the equation. But that is a crazy idea. How can you have vehicles driving around without human beings, was a question that was asked. But that is a crazy idea. You start out with that premise. And the breakthrough technology was, they said, look, we have these solutions in place. Thanks to Google Map, we know turn by turn how to go from place A to place B. Thanks to the video camera that's mounted on top of the Google Street View car, We can actually see what's going on around us 360 degrees. Thanks to artificial intelligence, we can make decisions based on that to say whether the car should move or stop or slow down. Putting all this together, they started working on the first fully autonomous car. Let's roll a video that shows conceptually how this car works. The first Waymo video, please.
It has over a decade of real-world experience and has driven millions. Say hello to Waymo, the world's most experienced driver. The Waymo driver is what we call our self-driving technology. It has over a decade of real-world experience and has driven millions of miles. With Waymo One, we can make it safer and easier for you to get around, so you can spend more time doing what you love. And with Waymo Via, the same driver with the same deep experience can also deliver your packages or save you a trip to the dry cleaners. Or if you run a business, Waymo Via can help you transport whatever you need, making sure shipments arrive right when they're supposed to. This is the Waymo driver, a driver that's reimagining transportation for all of us.
And in case you're wondering, Waymo is the sister company of Google that our team worked on. We called it Waymo, so it's a separate company under the Alphabet umbrella, which is the parent company of Google. Can we roll the second video now that shows, in case that looks conceptual, but you might be wondering, where's the real car? So just one more quick video. The second Waymo video, please.
More than a decade ago, we set out to improve the future of mobility.
That challenge became our mission at Waymo, to design and build the world's most experienced driver.
So Waymo driver has experience learned from over 10 million miles of data.
Using that data, it learned how to recognize everything around it.
Cars, pedestrians, curbs, traffic lights.
Even how to listen for things coming from any direction.
So that when it counts, Waymo sees what matters.
Just great to work with really talented people.
Engineers, scientists, researchers, designers, working together to solve one of the world's toughest problems.
No one can solve any piece of this by themselves. It all requires working together.
We're all driven by one common goal, making our roads safer and easier to get around for everyone.
When you ride with Waymo, it may look like there's no one in the driver's seat, but on every single ride, all of our passion and hard work is there behind that wheel.
Thank you. So this originally started as a crazy idea, but now it is practical reality. In fact, we're doing tests now in Arizona where the people participating in the test, you just pull out your phone through an app, you call a car and the car shows up by itself. No driver picks you up, takes you to a destination and then goes parks itself. So a fully autonomous car has gone from concept reality thanks to the second leadership principle, think 10x, not simply 10%. The third and final mission, the principle that I want to talk about is called have a mission that matters. Have a mission that matters. Now, every organization, any corporate, small business, they all have a certain mission. That is by design, and that can be expected. And Google has one too. And Google's mission is a simple 10 words that 21 years ago, Larry and Sergey wrote down, and it is still relevant. And those 10 words, once again, are organize the world's information, make it universally accessible and useful. But what's interesting about the mission statement is I've seen every Googler take those 10 words and personalize it. Take the same leadership principle and really make it deeply meaningful in their own life. And that meaning and context drives them in a certain way. So I'll give you an example of that through my own story. My roots go back to a tiny rice farming village in Palakkad district in Kerala called Chittilancheri. And if you can bring up the photograph of Chittilancheri, the person managing the tech, so the first slide. Okay? So, and put it in full screen if you're able to. Thank you. So those of you from that part of Kerala will know that it's a rice farming community where even to this day, rice is grown in this slow, laborious, painstaking way. And in Chittilancheri lived my grandparents. If we go to the next slide. And these are my grandparents, Pallichare Govindagutti Nair and Vatambarat Amanikutti Amma. I think right now one of my cousins who used to be very active with Bahrain Toastmasters, Mohan, and his wife Jyoti may be watching, and they would be able to relate to the story because this is also Mohan's aunt and uncle. So my grandparents lived as poor rice farmers in Chittilancheri. And if you go to the next slide, this is where my parents also grew up. This is my mother, Vatambarat Lakshmikutti Amma from the village, and my father, Kallayil Nilambaran Nair from the neighboring village of Kunisheri. And it's an emotional story for me to tell because my father was the hero of my life, passed away 3 years ago. And he would be so proud to watch me be delivering this talk here to the WMC Toastmasters. So my parents grew up in Chittilancheri and Kunisheri, neighboring villages, with a very modest life. They grew up with no electricity. They grew up with no running water. Education was minimal. They studied up to what in Kerala we call SSLC, 10 years of schooling in a rural Indian village school, and then leave to go find a job in a nearby town. But they had aspirations for their children, just like all of you are parents have aspirations. And thanks to those aspirations, their 4 children, that is me and my 3 siblings, we went on to get 10 advanced degrees, 10, including 2 from US Ivy League MBA programs, even though my parents had never set foot in America. And the question is often asked, what caused that kind of social mobility in one generation? And it was very simply access to information, But when we were growing up, it was very slow access. I still remember taking an 8-hour train journey from my engineering school to the nearest big city of Chennai so that I could access a printed copy of the US News Guide to Graduate Schools at the US Information Services Library in Chennai. 8 hours train journey. Today, we pull out what I call the 79th organ in our hands, and if it takes 8 seconds, we get restless. But thanks to that access to information, it propelled me and my siblings forward. But today, if you go to the village school, if you go to the next slide, it looks pretty much the same, except for one difference. And the one difference being for kids who go to that school, if you go to the next slide, with those who have access to computers and the kind of services we're building at Google, now have access to the same amount of information as somebody who goes to Harvard University or Stanford. They can access the same TED Talks like everyone else, and it's auto-translated into language they can understand, even though they may never get to TED. They can watch a National Geographic video of Charles Darwin's exploration outside off the coast of Ecuador. They can go look at underwater sea photography. The entire map of the world is now carried in a device like this anywhere in the world. Everyone has free access to geographical information, something that only, say, Federal Express or you work for the US military to get access to. In an era where information is like oxygen, we are leveling the playing field for information. This is how my personal sense of mission comes alive. This is what gets me out of bed. This leadership principle, this innovation principle is what gets me out of bed. And every single day, 14 years after I joined the company, I still show up for work every day saying, how can I drive innovation? How can I make a difference in the world? Or as you see in this picture, how can I level the playing field for information for all of humanity? Thank you.
Oh, Gopi. Gopi, thank you so much. Wonderful.
Thank you, Babu. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Gopi. It's been a pleasure having you here. We would love to have you for more time. I know you're busy. You've got other commitments. Thank you for making it for me and for the club and for the whole community which is watching you.
Thank you. My honor. Bye-bye.
And I think there's a certificate for you before you leave. Just a virtual certificate.
Please, yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gopi Kallayil, for that wonderful presentation of how Google, through its leadership initiatives, is blending the digital with the analog and elevating people's lives. So before we go, please, we'd like to present the certificate of appreciation. Thank you very much for joining us. And also thank you, Dr. Babu, for bringing a great leader to inspire us in today's day and age.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Babu.
See you. I'll be in touch with you. Bye-bye. Bye.
So on with the show. It's been a fantastic 2 hours, I must say, and we have some more time ahead of us. And we're going to be having a video. Obviously, in Toastmastering, the education session is very important. And the video is going to be presenting the Pathways journey and also a few words from our current president, Toastmaster Yashoda.
Toastmasters provides a structured learning environment that builds on its founder, Ralph C. Smedley's vision that every member should emerge from this public speaking program with enhanced confidence, leadership, thinking, and listening skills. Since 2018, the education program has been revitalized through Toastmasters Pathways, taking full advantage of the technology realm through expanded video and digital content, as well as individual learning portals, allowing you to learn anytime and anywhere. The Pathways program will help you develop real-world transferable skills in many different areas, such as communication, leadership, management, strategic planning, service to others, public speaking, and much, much more. Through Pathways, members can take advantage of more than 300 competencies spread across 11 specialized learning paths. You can choose the path that best aligns with your learning goals in developing a better version of yourself and enabling you to integrate yourself into the mainstream to become truly the leader you are meant to be.
As Ralph C. Smedley said, the destination determines the direction. In WMC's next era, we will charter towards providing platforms for indulgence, build on those moments, enabling people to learn. Open houses to engage guests with the Toastmasters culture. Demo meetings to feel and experience the Toastmasters program. Enhance club member experience through joint meetings with other clubs, locally and internationally. Speechcraft programs for a quick capsule for aspiring speakers. Youth leadership programs for the young leaders, and public speaking contests with a twist for fun participation and engagement. Our endeavor will be to attract to-be Toastmasters into the world of Toastmastering by showcasing the joys of being on stage, being present, and being the center of attraction. After all, to speak and let the audience know of what we are thinking is the greatest reveal of oneself. Mastery over public speaking comes with time, practice, and persistence. Mastery over public speaking makes leaders of today and tomorrow.
A club is known by its members. This is very true in the context of WMC Toastmasters. The collective painstaking efforts of all our dear members has brought the club its fame and glory and has helped many to reach their goals. This is the strength of WMC Toastmasters. The ongoing pandemic this year has been one of the most challenging and difficult times in the history of WMC Toastmasters. But this year has also taught us lessons in togetherness, approach to technology, and ways to reinvent ourselves. We are already emboldened to plan a mega event this year. This is the true spirit of WMC Toastmasters.
Well, we have two fantastic speeches ahead of us. They're actually showcase speeches of two of our wonderful Toastmasters and club members who are both competent communicators and competent leaders. They're going to be doing 5 to 7 minute speech, which is in line with the Toastmasters protocol. And the first speaker is going to be Toastmaster Murali. Toastmaster Murali with the speech, Chasing Your Dreams.
Can you hear me? Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Let me ask you this. How many of you know Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Usain Bolt, Stephen Covey, and you have Houston as your motivator? Well, I'm not going to talk about any of them this evening. I'm going to talk about Farooq, the motivator in my story. Born to a lower middle class family in Kerala, a small village in Kerala, India, Farooq was the second of the 5 children. His father had to work hard and do odd jobs to make both ends meet. But our little Farooq had big dreams. He always wanted to give himself and his family a better life. Golf was a major thing in his village. Not that much has changed now, it still is. You know, many of his friends, father is already there in the Gulf. Fathers, uncles, brothers, they were already in the Gulf making dreams into reality. Every time any of them came back on their vacation, that house was having a celebration. Friends and families flocked to meet them, and they all left with some goodies. Aftershave, deo sprays, chocolates for the kids, watches. Don't miss those Ray-Ban glasses. Feasts happened almost every day till they were left. Weddings were extravagant. Don't miss the gold. Buying properties and renovating homes were always on the cards. Like many, Farooq too wanted to head the Gulf. But he wanted to make it really big. After he finished his 10th standard, he had to take up menial jobs like his brother to support the family. And then eventually he got a free visa to come to Bahrain. The initial struggles, he found a job as an office boy to a rich Bahrainese company. His appetite to pursue his dreams challenged him to take up anything that was given to him. His never say never attitude and his ability to learn quick soon made him the man Friday to that boss. Any kind of maintenance that was to be done for his boss's properties, Farooq was the go-to man. He would put up a small team together and get that job done, be it painting, plumbing, or getting that extra office space done. He was the man. Like most of us, he too had a mentor, Mustafa, a street smart man who told Farooq life lessons. Never miss an opportunity, even if you have half a chance. So Farooq, looking at the opportunity, started his own company. He got his brothers involved and he took up maintenance for his ex-boss. He added in new companies to his booster and started getting to grow his company bit by bit. His claim to fame was when he moved this huge Heidelberg machine, he dismantled it and reassembled it in the new premises. That company didn't have to call in the Germans to do this job and saved a whole lot of money. You can call this confidence or overconfidence, common sense, or just gifted. He was an achiever. He took up every challenge that came his way. His hard work and his sweat, persistence, got him to achieve his dreams. Today, back home, he has a huge house with a fleet of cars parked outside. He does investments in property, malls, and shopping complex. You know, in fact, there are many like Farooq from his village here in the Gulf today, all thanks to him. And when he gets back to his village, it's a village festival. Farooq didn't follow Warren Buffett to make his investments. Stephen Covey did not motivate him, his inner conviction did. He never followed Bill Gates to be a rich man, but his focus got him to achieve what he is today. He ran faster than Usain Bolt with that dream. Many of us have these dreams and aspirations, and we choose different paths to achieve them. I would say, trust and believe in yourself. Keep that burning desire on always. And if you have a mentor or a role model or a motivator, leverage that opportunity. Don't burden yourself with too many goals. Break it down like small milestones. And when you achieve a milestone, enjoy that moment. And add a new one to that bucket list. I would say that you should have a motto. You need to want it. Go chase your dreams. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Murali. That was truly inspirational. I'm sure many of us who have been thinking twice on whether to go ahead and follow their passions and their dreams will have truly been inspired by your speech tonight. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Murali. Next, we have Toastmaster Abdul Rahim, who will be speaking to us with the speech title, To Be, Act As If. To Be, Act As If. Toastmaster Abdul Rahim.
A Master of Ceremonies, my fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. In fact, I would say it's the best evening because we are celebrating the momentous 400th meeting. Well, way back in 2003, when those four visionary leaders, Toastmasters, A.S. Joe, T.L. Joy, Matthew Woman, and our founder president, Dr. Babu Ramachandran, laid this foundation, I'm sure they had a great vision for WMC Toastmasters Club. That one day, the name of WMC Toastmasters will be written on the sky. Well, those leaders had a great vision for the club. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a vision for your Toastmasters journey? Do you have a vision for your life or for your career? Today, I'm very glad that His Excellency Dr. Ashok Kumar and Toastmaster Gopi Kallayil, both of them stress the need to craft a vision in their address. Because to achieve anything, first you have to see it in your mind, right? So what is a vision? Well, I remember the little story of the little girl who was drawing in the classroom. And the teacher comes and asks her, "Baby, what are you drawing?" So the little girl says, without even lifting her head, says, "I'm drawing God." So the amused teacher asks, "You're drawing God? Nobody knows how God looks like." So the girl says, "Wait, teacher, wait 5 minutes. You will know how God looks like." So the little girl had a little vision how God looks like. So, fellow Toastmasters, what is vision? Vision is nothing but visualizing or seeing a clear picture of yourself or your organization or your club, how it would look like, what it would look like after 5 years, after 10 years, because goals are short term, vision is long term. And every vision is driven by passion. No passion, no vision. No vision, no mission. So when you have a vision for a Toastmaster for something in life, everything that you do on a daily basis becomes very important, right? You might have heard the story of bricklayers, the 3 bricklayers who were laying bricks. And one day the journalist comes and asks the first bricklayer, "Hey, what are you doing?" So the first bricklayer says, "Well, I am laying bricks. Can't you see?" He goes to the second bricklayer, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm earning a livelihood for my family." He goes to the third bricklayer, "What about you?" He says, "I'm building a cathedral." So when I read this story for Toastmasters, I was just making some introspection. What kind of mindset, what kind of mentality do these people have? Think about the first 2 bricklayers. Do you think they care what they do? Because today they are laying bricks. Tomorrow it could be cutting grass or digging a ditch or pounding nails. They don't care what they do as long as they earn their money, right? And when it is 5 o'clock in the evening, they look at the watch frantically. When it is going to be 5, so they can leave the place. And as soon as the clock strikes 5, they throw their tools and they leave as fast as they can. And they don't even look back. In fact, they wish they were never there again. And next morning, they wake up from their bed. "Oh my God, it's another day of laying bricks." And they're limping towards their work site as they drag their feet, walking slowly. Now, fellow Toastmasters, think about the third bricklayer, who was also laying bricks, by the way, but what a grand vision of building a cathedral. Do you think he can leave at 5 o'clock exactly? No way. When it is 5, he says, "Oh, it is still not dark yet. I can still work for a few more minutes," because he has a vision. And when it is too much dark and he can't see anymore, he has no choice but to leave. And as he leaves, he looks back and marvels at his handiwork, touches every brick and feels the warmth. And he says to himself, "Tomorrow it's a very important day for me because I'm going to raise the tomb." And next day, he doesn't wake up from bed. He jumps out of his bed excitedly because today is a very important day. I'm going to raise the tomb. And he has a sound breakfast. And as he walks, there is a spring in his steps. Fellow Toastmasters, all 3 are doing the same job, laying bricks. Do you think they are doing the same job? That's what a vision does for you. Even the ordinary things you do on a daily basis, when you have a vision, it becomes extraordinary. Because the vision just transforms your life. Fellow Toastmasters, your vision must be based on 5 things. SMART. S for specific, M for measurable, A for actionable, R for realistic, and T for time bound. So your vision, whatever it is, should be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound. Today, as our distinguished speaker said, I want to encourage you, fellow Toastmasters, find your passion and have a vision for it, and see how life transforms in front of you. Never underestimate the power of a vision, because your vision is your roadmap. It's your GPS of your life. When you take a taxi, you know where you want to go. When you take a bus, you know where you want to go. When you take a plane, you know where you want to go. Ladies and gentlemen, you are journeying through your life. Do you know where you want to go? Over to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abdul Rahim, for that visionary speech. We shall all aspire to become smarter Toastmasters in the days to come. Thank you very much. 400 meetings of WMC Toastmasters Club did not just come about by chance. A lot of effort went into it, a lot of history, as we were hearing. But during that history, a lot of achievements and accolades have also been garnered. We were the first in achieving many things because we were a visionary club on this island. So next, we're going to watch a video on WMC's achievements over the years.
You have been our encouraging, loving VP education, as well as the gentle president that we all loved bullying. So do you still miss WMC Toastmasters?
Of course, Rekha. WMC Toastmasters is always close to our hearts and we definitely miss it.
My first memory of you in WMC is of us doing the last train together.
True,
it was our non-competitive entry for the Faces short play contest organized by WMC Toastmasters. You were the policeman in that play. What do you remember of that?
Only a bold director can take a decision. It's choosing me as a character and making me converting to a policeman. Rekha, it's still there in front of me, those sweet memories.
Those were really lovely days, and then we went on to do the last shade of grey. Do you remember the panic? But for you and Ganpati having my back, I think I would have had a nervous breakdown. Chasing Suresh for the script, trying to reach up to Vani's passion for perfection, recording the music, doing the costumes. These were all challenges, and then you still had the role of WMC president on your head. It really was exactly the same for you in Synergy.
Maybe I was lucky enough to be the president of that particular year. And the moments, 23 short films which were made in Bahrain, and we made it possible because we always believed in, even with greater enthusiasm, originality, making a difference. And that year's team, why not? The possibilities are endless.
It was the first ever short film contest in Bahrain. What was your learning that you have taken from WMC?
WMC Toastmasters, as I mentioned earlier, it's always close to our hearts. We always believed in being yourself, being original, and we are continuing the journey.
That's so true, that the ability to speak in front of people or face an audience with a confidence, I think it all came from all the projects and all the events that we did and all the people that we interacted from.
And Rekha, after that we again went to do Masrahiyya.
Can you
and
believe?
again, you were the director. Can you share that experience?
They say that you should never repeat history. But we did repeat history by having Masra here, the short play contest. This time it was the last word. It did receive accolades, and that's when you realize that the discipline that you learn from WMC Toastmasters, especially from a person as nonchalant as Suresh, that the tricks that you learn from him last you for a lifetime.
True.
And that is what makes us ever grateful to WMC Toastmasters.
Well, I hope that all of you have been enjoying the session till now. But it's important that we hear a few words from the coordinators of tonight's event, Toastmaster Ganapathy and Toastmaster Sukumar. Toastmaster Ganapathy is a chartered member, past president, and an active member of WMC Toastmasters. And it's with his effort, along with Toastmaster Sukumar, that we've been able to get all of you here today and have this wonderful gala event. So I call upon Toastmaster Ganapathy to say a few words.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jeffrey, for your kind words and introduction. Chief guest of the evening, Professor Dr. Mohan Kumar, guest of honor, Mr. Gopi Kallayil, and other dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Toastmasters, a warm good evening to one and all. WMC Toastmasters back in action with another mega event for its 400th meeting. And I'm proud to say that I am one of the charter members of this vibrant club. It has been a great journey throughout. As part of the organizing committee, I take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you to come and make this event a grand success. Let us hear from the man behind action, our Vice President Public Relations, Toastmasters Sukumar Swaminathan.
Thank you, Charter Member Ganapathy ji, and all WMC team who have really supported in working in the background. It's a complete teamwork. But today's heroes are the guests who are with us today. And I would like to thank each and every one of the guests from district, from division, from areas, from different parts of the world who have come together and have taken their time out and spent it with us today. For us, it's a culmination of 17 years, which is happening today. 17 years of Toastmastering, 17 years of laurels and celebrations, 17 years of being WMC family and, leadership, 17 years of lessons learned. Today, we learned lessons from the best of the administrators to the corporate leaders. We took pride in organizing the celebration today for you, members, for all the guests, meeting for the 400th time. As part of the celebrations, we would be releasing the 54th edition of Eloquence, which we proudly call 400 Meetings. And it's all about being you, being WMC. And it's all about us. So I'm proud to present the Eloquence number 54, which is 400 meetings. We have a few addresses Felicitations from the Toastmasters world, from the Toastmasters International, from the district, from the division, and of course, our charter members and senior well-wishers. Educational achievements, proud achievements of the club, and a feature from Dr. Babu, our founding president, on how WMC evolved, what were the roots, and he reminisced on the roots. The perspectives is WMC and me, and I would like to thank each and every senior ex-member who has come together, and like they said, once a part of WMC family, every time a part of being WMC. So they came in together, we had poems, we had beautiful insights, we had articles, and then our members who contributed their views of what, WMC and me. And finally, reflections in terms of what happens in our meetings. Thank you. And back to you, MC of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ganapathy. Thank you, Sukumar. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I'll say good night until tonight becomes tomorrow. Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, it's time to bring our gala event to a close. And I, as your host for today, it was a great privilege to stand here and to lead you through the event of the night. But it's time for me to leave, and I'd like to once again give a hearty thank you for all those who've shown their immense support to all of us this evening on our 400th birthday. Well, over to you, Mr. President, and thank you all.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. I think we have got some time, so why not to share one more video, a very small video about the members itself, like what all members think about leadership. So VPPR, Sukumar, can we run that short video, please?
Leadership is not about being a boss. It's about making positive changes in individuals so that they can be bosses of themselves.
Leadership is inclusiveness and absolute responsibility.
Controlling the senses, lust, anger, arrogance, pride, greed, and overexcitement.
Empowering people, establishing right framework to achieve said goals. Effective communication is a must-have skill for any good leader.
Transforming ourselves to a larger possibility for self-enhancement and for serving others as well.
It's the determination and dedication to achieve the ultimate vision.
A great leader is the one who helps others to unlock their potential, perform their best, and be the person they aspire to be.
Is the ability to cooperate effectively, whether it's in large or in small numbers.
Leadership is to develop, support, motivate, and bring out the best in people. And that's what we do in Toastmasters.
Leadership is how you face the challenge. It does not matter whether you win or lose.
A person giving directions to a team, motivating the team to give their 100%, achieve a particular goal, that is leadership.
With firmness rooted in compassion.
Leadership is about flying like geese, working as a team, not alone.
Aligning everybody in the organization to the common goal by raising the awareness and by effective communication.
When your people barely know
that you exist. And when the mission is accomplished, your team says, we have done it by ourselves. To me, that is true leadership.
Seeing what others cannot see, and in inspiring your team into believing in that vision with you, and then treating your team with empathy in that journey to that destination.
Being positive in a negative situation, it is not naive, it's leadership.
An art of motivating a group of people to act towards achieving a common goal. It captures the essential of being able and prepared to inspire others.
A good leader is someone who is supportive and motivates others to bring out the best in them. He's open to all sorts of ideas and seeks different perspectives and then takes an effective decision which is not only good for himself but also his co-workers or team.
Wow. What a wonderful celebration we had. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank each one of you for joining today's celebration, especially the speakers who gave us some very valuable message, take-home messages. Thanks a lot to each one of you. Now it's time to adjourn the meeting officially. We'll adjourn the meeting, but please hang around for having an informal chat with all of us. So hereby, I adjourn the meeting number 400. Thank you very much. As I said, you can unmute yourself. Maybe our technical heads, you can unmute everybody.
It's in mute.
No, Lena, it is not in mute.
Okay. So now, I hope you can hear me now. Yeah. So just a small housekeeping rule. If you mute yourself in between, then you won't be able to unmute yourself again. So you'll have to ask someone to unmute you.
Yes. Can we hear from people who are around?
What do you expect the opposition to do? Somewhere they don't do it. What's go? Rahul Gandhi will keep talking about PDP.
Hello, Dr. Babu.
Anita,
it was wonderful being part of this 400th meeting and seeing all of you after such a long time. It was actually nostalgia going through. I just didn't feel like going away. A fantastic session, in fact. Really, Ganapati, everybody has taken off, very, very well. Rekha, of course, don't have to say, the moderator stole the show.
Reggie, let's hear from everyone. Is Suresh around?
Yeah, Suresh is there. Suresh is there.
Yeah, Suresh
very much around.
Because when he talks, nobody should talk. No, that is why. Suresh, please go ahead.
Dr. Suresh.
I'm listening. I don't have anything to say. I'm listening.
No.
Hello, Suresh.
Suresh, any glass is near to you? Whether you kept any glass near to you?
No, I would rather have broken one on your head.
Suresh, hi, Dr. Babu. Hi, Annie. Hi,
Dr. Suresh.
Wonderful.
It's good to hear. See you again.
Wonderful meeting. Really.
Suresh, Hussain.
Very happy to see Mr. Hussain.
Nice to hear from you, Hussain.
Nice to hear from all of you.
Mr. Hussain, your speech,
well organized.
Yeah, Mr. Hussain, your speech was awesome. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
I was taught by WMC.
Great.
Congratulations. You.
Can anyone? Come on, Shantini. What do you have to
Hi,
say?
Shantini.
Yeah, it's so good. It was. I couldn't.
Thank you, Shantini.
Thank you.
Shantini, we can't hear you.
Now?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sam Arasratnam, are you here?
I think everyone is talking.
Yeah,
Sukumar, good job, Sukumar. Very well done. Yeah, all the hard work which you have done.
Thank you.
Jeffrey,
No, it was a teamwork from everyone. I and Ganapati ji just coordinated and felicitated. Thank you, Raji.
I have not done anything. Everything you
But
have
it
done,
is very
Sukumar.
well organized. Very well.
Call members. Thank you.
Raja, you look younger than a few years ago when I last saw you. What do you eat? I said you look much younger than last time I saw you. What is the secret?
It's just makeup, Mr. Hussain.
Good to see you, Reggie, and all of you.
Thank you so much. Lovely to see you as well.
Wish you all the very best.
Mr. Hussain.
Dr. Babu.
Mr. Hussain. Mr. Hussain.
Yes,
it's
sir.
always a pleasure to cherish the memories of the DTAG which you have chaired.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Amazing
Nice
place.
seeing you.
And also the Babcock speechcraft. I remember that.
I remember that very well.
Speechcraft also.
And you addressed Rekha as the working dictionary. I think she put on more weight now.
Elizabeth George.
With more and more
Only here.
vocabulary.
Only here. Nowhere else.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain, for standing up for me. These guys are just used and misused the word. Now I hear the word dictionary, I feel like an allergy now.
You should be proud.
Thank you.
I am proud of
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Rekha, it's time you now reinvented yourself away from the dictionary.
Which is very true. I don't know what you intend for me, so that is very scary. I'm sure there is a motive behind this,
Whatever it is, it will only do you good.
Absolutely, I agree with you. You are the one who has pushed me into everything that I've done in WMC. So, but for you, I still remember I was a fairly new member. He just looks at all members standing in front of him and he says, "Hey, you can direct." What do you mean you can direct? That was the beginning. When you say that I have to reinvent.
It stands true till now, Dr. Suresh.
Yeah.
You
Dr.
can
Suresh,
direct.
Please.
What I wanted to say, beautiful moments. So we know how many hours, like 30 plus moments. Thank you so much to WMC, Rekha, and all of them, the whole team.
Thank you, Shantini.
Thank you, Shantini.
It was, I must say that this time we had Sukumar, who I think he was on annual leave or something. I think.
Yeah, he's on annual leave.
I had to. It's a first dedication to WMC Toastmasters.
The only thing I can tell you, Sukumar, is that we all have worked this hard and we have earned our rest. Now it's your time.
That's a nice way. It's called knowledge transfer. That's a nice way of handing over the baton.
Absolutely.
But I had Murali. I had Murali saving the back as well. So a lot of work from Murali and his team. So
right.
No doubt, Sukumar and Murali, both of them worked really hard for that video.
Absolutely.
And
Yes,
Sukumar
came out very well.
coordinated
Came out
everything
very
for
well.
the class.
Yeah.
And even special thanks to Jeffrey as well for his instinct. He has done a wonderful job today.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the humble president, you never take any credit. You made us all do all of this. So.
That's my quality of leadership, I don't do anything. I just make everybody else do.
Memorable events happen in certain years only. Yeah. So, Yashodan, you are lucky to be president.
Yeah, Reggie, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
The video on all the XCOM talking on leadership was really good. Done
All the
very
members,
well.
Tanu, all the
Yeah, it
members.
was so nice to see. Yeah, most of them current members, I guess.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
really good. That was nice.
Yeah.
Are there any guests around who can speak something?
It was wonderful to see all familiar faces.
Raghu, hi.
Mr. Raghu.
Familiar faces. It was really a good event, and I really enjoyed the last 3 hours. So,
great.
Very good job. Happy to see a lot of familiar faces, because last time when I attended, it was only Dr. Babu and Ganpati. Now I could see John, like
Hi, Raghu. Yeah,
like,
long time.
so
Where are you, Raghu, now? Where are you?
I'm in Chennai, working for Nissan, for the last 7 years. Yes.
Okay, okay.
I think we have Elizabeth George with us.
Yeah, Elizabeth, yeah.
Elizabeth, let's hear from you.
Oh, it was wonderful seeing all of you and so well organized. And thank you especially to Dr. Babu for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here. And the time just passed by. I was wondering for 3 hours, I wonder, but no, it was wonderful to hear everybody and looking at everybody and seeing all familiar faces. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rekha, do we have a CD of Last Shade of Grey?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we do have Mr. Hussain. Would you like us to reach it to you?
I will arrange.
Yeah, I'd like to see it again.
I will arrange for
And we have Toastmaster Khalid Amin with us. Toastmaster Khalid, would like to say something?
And Kola Prasanna, can you say something?
Hello. Yes.
Yes, Toastmaster Khalid.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all the people around the globe. I have a few things to say. Number one, I do not know who invited me, so if you know, please identify yourself so I can thank you. But it's always wonderful. Yeah,
Hi, Khalid. Thank you so
DTM
much.
Khalid Jalal. Okay, thank you very much, DTM, and a wonderful workshop this afternoon on the other end. Now, I know WMC since many years. I attended your club a couple of times by invitation, and at the time I thought it was a closed club. But later on, I found out that actually you're now open to public. And I will be happy to join your club anytime if I can be of any service.
Very good.
Now,
Wonderful.
one thing
Thank you
I
very
must,
much.
thank you. One thing I must talk about is your chief guest. I think you had one in particular, Toastmaster Hussain. I don't know if he's still a Toastmaster. Are you there? Hussain Al Ansari.
Yes, sir.
He's there. Hello, how are you, my friend?
I am fine. Good to hear
now
from you, Khalid.
open your ears and listen to this carefully, please.
I shall.
Anis, you always give a dignified speeches. Your speeches, nothing can beat your own speeches except the way you look. Because you are the most handsome man I have known. Now I know you like to hear that from a woman, but I'm just saying that your speeches are always dignified. You are very, when you talk from the heart and add to it what is on your mind. I was very pleased to listen to your speech and very good to see you.
Thank you, Khalid.
Another speaker I enjoyed listening to, I enjoyed all the speakers, but due to the short time that I'm allowed, I must single out the man, I think his name was Gopi, the man who talked about Google.
Yes, yes.
I think such a marvelous speech. Comparing Google, Gopi.
Yeah, he's a Toastmaster.
Oh, he's a Toastmaster. I don't know if you are there. I love the analogy of,
No, Gopi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gopi has gone away. He had
he has
another.
gone away. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love the, the speech talking about Google, like being like a 20, if you compare it to our age, a 21-year-old. I think that is so inspirational that when you talk to youngsters, that by the time you're 21, you should have so many goals, because there are so many things that you can achieve before you're 21. I know many years ago, I learned that a man or a woman should achieve something significant before they reach the age of 40. But now I think he has given us a new insight into our life. And let me tell you one more thing. By the way, you can stop me anytime because I can go on and on, okay? I want to tell you something about number 40. You know, Nobel Prize, all people are qualified except mathematicians, people like me. You know, we are not qualified for any Nobel Prize, even in science, which is our field. And and I don't know, the reason for that is that Nobel hated one mathematician. He was his friend, and he excluded mathematicians because he thought that if he put a prize, that guy is going to win the first one. So that's why we here's what I found.
Thank you.
This is Google.
Okay, thank you very much, Toastmaster Khalid.
Thank you. Suresh is around. Suresh is around.
Yash, can you call Khalid Abdullah if he's around? Khalid?
Khalid, he's not there. He left sometime back.
Dr. Suresh is there.
Anybody else?
Suresh.
Let's hear from Suresh Karnakaran.
Suresh, where are you?
No, Suresh Karnakaran, cannot see him. Probably he has left the meeting already.
Yeah.
Who else is there who would like to say something?
Well, I would like to leave now, but I would like to express my gratitude for inviting me, Dr. Babu. It has been a pleasure to see you all on this virtual meeting, and I wish WMC all the very best. And in the not too distant future, I would like personally to come and attend one of your meetings.
Thank
you.
Thanks a lot.
Hussein,
Thanks
just hold on. Hussein, just hold on, Hussein. There is somebody else who want to say hello to you. Come.
Should be Dr. Mary then.
Yeah. Who else?
Hello. Hello, Dr. Mary.
Hi, Dr. Mary.
How are you, my darling?
Fine, Hussein. Really missing you. So nice to see you. God
You're
bless.
still married to this man?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No other choice, Hussein.
It's lovely seeing you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to see you. I'm just looking back at the past and just going through all what happened. It's so nice to see you back here. All of you wonderful members did a wonderful job, and so proud of you. To see you grow so much, my God.
Grow old, you mean?
Young man. Never grow old, Hussein. You're still young. God bless
Well,
you
it has
all.
been a very pleasant evening for me.
Yeah,
seeing both of you and many other of WMC friends. And I miss you all. And I would like to come and see you in person soon.
Oh, we love you so much. God bless you all. Take care. Hussein, such a pleasure.
All the very best.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. In fact, today we have got a very nice blend of three generations, I would say. That the very old generation who started WMC and all of you, our senior members from whom we always seek the guidance. The current members, as we say, the middle-aged.
Yes.
We have,
yes. Sorry, yes. Khalid is here. Khalid Jalal is here. Can you ask him?
Oh, lovely.
Khalid Jalal, my dear friend.
Yes, sir. Toastmaster Ganapati Narayan.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Dr. Babu, for inviting me today. Sorry, I couldn't come earlier because as Division C Director, we were having a training session online, and that took some time. But I thought if the meeting is still going on, let me come in, first of all, apologize and hear from all the seasoned Toastmasters and gurus. And I'm happy to see, my old friend, Mr. Ganpati. We worked in the same company for quite a few years before I left the organization. And distinguished Toastmaster Rekha Uttam, we've been trying to steal her from you, but she didn't want to be stolen, so we left her.
Now you understand why, I hope.
But Toastmaster Yashodan, I have heard his speech in some of the contests where he spoke about his name and how people pronounce his name.
Yeah.
And,
Issue, our issue. He's our issue.
and of course, DTM Khalid Amin, I know him very well. He's my younger brother. Who else I know from this? My apology, I don't know much because I'm new to Toastmasters. I'm trying to find out who is who so that I can increase my Toastmasters network as well. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Khalid. Thank you, Khalid.
Thank you,
Thank you
very
much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Khalid bhai. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, we have got one very young member, very recently joined the club. We have got Rajeshwari with us. So Rajeshwari, your video is off, but if you are around, we'd like to hear something from you. I think she's not around. We have got Kiran as well. Kiran?
Leena Polnambalam is there.
Hi everyone.
Hi Kiran.
Hi,
How are
hi.
you?
Good. It was like great privilege to be part of such a great fraternity. Really enjoyed the show. Kudos to everyone who has arranged this. Thanks a lot. Looking forward for a great learning. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Leena, can I hear from you?
Yeah, 1 second, doctor.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now Punambalam's seat is taken by Leena.
Always like that.
Once in a while I have to, right?
You're the driving force behind him anyway.
Correct.
Not anymore, Chechi. I have let him drive on his own.
No, literally, she is running the Camel Club. Pannambalam is only namesake.
It's all their idea. I have taken
that's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair. It's not fair to him. Actually, I have stopped helping him so that he can do it on his own stuff. Anyway, the meeting was great, and thanks Dr. Babu so that we could hear Gopi nicely, and it was so enriching to hear him. Otherwise, it was a great meeting. Lovely to see Anita. How are you? A lot of old faces to see them. It was very wonderful to see all of them, and the new ones also. I am familiar with both, so it's fine.
I see some people, Sankida, Tanu, would you like to come on, Tanu?
Say something.
Say something. Yeah.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute. Can somebody?
It was a great meeting, and Dr. Babu, thanks a lot for bringing in Gopi. That was a nice, really nice. So much of technology and all we came to know through him. It was nice, and I really loved the video of all the current members talking on leadership. That was really nice.
Thank you.
Thanks to Ganapati for your inspiration. We wrote for the eloquence. He just used to send a message, right, only that will be there, like reminder.
Thank you. Thank you,
and congrats to WMC Toastmasters. I still remember the 100th meeting where we were all there in it. And I still have the memento given on that 100 it was written.
Elizabeth, has Clement left?
Is Roshni here? Roshni is
no,
gone.
Roshni left, I think.
She left.
Anybody else who would like to say something, please come forward. Don't wait to be called.
Please.
Arun is there. Arun,
can you unmute yourself, please? Mr. Hussain again. I think the last time we met was in Bangalore with
Hi,
Dr.
Elizabeth.
Babu
How
and
are you?
Mary. How are you?
I'm fine. Where are you? And which
I'm now in
corner of the
Bangalore.
earth?
Can't travel anywhere because of the lockdown. Wings are clipped.
It soon will be over.
I hope
And
so.
we'll see each
Yes.
other. You are most welcome back to Bahrain.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to see you.
Dr. Babu, thank you again.
Thank you. Regards to Clement
Good to see
also.
all
I
old
couldn't see.
friends.
Hi all, I'm Arun. Okay, I'm new to the WMC and it was a great be a part of this 400 meeting. I was quite inspired by all the members here. It was a great one and a lot of great speeches I could hear. It was so informative and I'm so glad that I joined and it is my privilege. On the 400 meeting, I just kickstart myself and I will start continuing it. So thanks to all members again.
Thank you.
I hope I
Thank
can
you, Arun.
join again.
Thank you very much, Arun.
I
Thanks a lot.
think
Prasanna.
Dr. Babu, Prasanna
Yeah,
is here.
Prasanna, please go ahead, Prasanna, please.
Prasanna, can you hear us?
Yeah, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Babu, Madam Rekha, for this great opportunity to be part of a 400 meeting of WMC. Thank you so much for the exuberant speakers and exuberant event. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prasanna.
thank you,
This is the
Prasanna.
first
Thank you.
event.
Nalini, we didn't hear from you.
Yeah, Ganapati, take over. Start calling
Great
you.
event and
Thank you,
so
Prasanna.
much.
Thank you, Prasanna.
Thank you, Prasanna. Thank you, thank you. Nalini, where are you?
Thank you.
Great,
Where
Prasanna.
are you hiding, Nalini?
Oh, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, my dear. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Okay. How are you all? I'm so
All
glad
good.
I joined the meeting. It was really nice and so nice seeing and hearing the familiar voices. More than seeing, it was really nice hearing your voice and really missing all of you all.
We also miss you,
I don't
Nalini. Yeah, thank you, Nalini. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm in Kerala, so the internet is giving me a lot of problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Who
I
is
think
Narayanan? Yes. Narayanan, yes. And
who
Abhiram?
is- and,
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Hi, my name is Narayanan. I'm invited by Mr. Sukumar. Sukumar is my childhood friend. I live in the UK. I live in a city called Norwich near London. Yeah, he invited me to this event. He was talking about Toastmasters in one of our conversations. It was very inspiring, lovely event. Thanks for inviting me. I thoroughly enjoyed the event. Thanks, everybody. It was a fantastic event. Very
Thank you.
inspiring. Looking forward to join.
Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Mr. Narayan, for joining us. Thank you. Welcome.
Abhirami is here? Abhirami?
Abhirami is,
He was
I think,
here
Ponnambalam.
for a while.
Ponnambalam.
Who is Galaxy A7?
Galaxy A7 is Mr. Matthew Mann. I think Matthew Mann. Mr. Matthew Mann. Yeah, Abhirami, please.
Yes, Abhirami.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was really, I think this is going to sound repetitive if I say it again, but it was really nice seeing a lot of familiar faces. I haven't seen so many people for a really long time, and it was really nice hearing from them. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank
It
you,
was
Abhirami.
our pleasure to have you here, Abhirami.
Yeah, nice to hear from you.
Anyway, Asus is something. Who's Asus? ASUS. I don't know who that is.
Jesus, I don't know. Joe Anthony is still there. Joe Anthony left.
Galaxy, we don't. I think
Galaxy,
Joe
I think,
Benson is appearing twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like that. He's always twice, thrice. Yeah, Joe Anthony, please. We want to hear from you. The business tycoon. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, unmute. Please unmute
Unmute.
yourself.
Unmute.
Yeah.
Job, you're not at unmute.
Yeah,
Yes.
now it's fine.
In fact, it is same like the earlier time. WMC Toastmasters meeting vibrance is happening after adjourning the meeting.
That is so true.
That is so true. So true. Yeah.
Dr. Babu, that 5-star snacks is still there?
Yes.
You owe me one for this day.
We will have virtual snacks, and later we will get together again. We have got mega events planned up by the present team.
Yeah.
Inshallah. I'm just
Thanks,
playing.
Job.
I
Thanks, good job for your participation.
Bye. What is he doing with stick and all that?
Yeah, he's playing badminton.
I
He's
was
playing
scared.
badminton.
Unpredictable. I don't know what he'll do.
I stopped the video and I was playing a shuttle.
Okay. Thank God you were playing job. Enjoy.
I feel so happy. Wow. Really great.
Nice to see you all.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, everybody.
Bye, doctor.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Seeing you.
Thank you once again for joining the meeting today. We really enjoyed your company.
Bye, Rekha. Bye.
Bye.
We will share you the eloquence. We will share you a soft copy. We will share you.
Yes, Babu.
Yes. Thank you. Anita,
We will
great
share the
job.
soft copy of eloquence. Okay, we will share you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anita, great.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Night. Good flow. Very good.
Give my regards to Harish.
Bye and good night.
Bye.
Good night, Tanu.
Rekha, you were good. Bye, everyone.
Oh,
thank
you,
you.
Tanu.
Thanks for all the effort.
Yes, in fact, Rekha ma'am, you conducted that panel discussion
Very well,
so
very
well.
well.
Just
Thank
gelled
you
in
so
everybody together, and it was really
Thank you.
fantastic.
I enjoyed doing it as well.
Very good.
I accidentally
I should
unmute.
apply for some TV host. I think I am going to like this.
Yes.
Yeah. You can share this clipping with all TV channels. Definitely, you will get the call from them.
I'll become an Arnab Goswami.
No, maybe.
I accidentally unmute Rekha ma'am while the panel discussion. So, but she could managed well. I accidentally mute her. Sorry.
Muted.
So that was you.
So you know the culprit now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Nice. It was a great event. Okay. And,
Maybe that was what Suresh had for you when he said you have to reinvent yourself.
That not to get muted by other people.
No. TV anchor.
Maybe, I don't know.
Now I think Rajeshwari is here. Rajeshwari, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm from the beginning here only.
Yeah, okay. So, did you enjoy the meeting?
Yeah, of course. I saw everything.
Lovely.
Thank you,
She is one of the newest members of WMC.
Yeah. Great, Rajeshwari. We need more participation from you, not just watching. So,
Okay, next time.
Now it will be like Sukumar and Ganapati will delegate things.
Special congratulations to Sukumar and Murali for the
Yes.
great work they have
Great
done.
video work. Great video work. It was a
That
great work.
was a real dedication from both of them.
How much of hard work, you know.
Yeah.
And my incessant cribbing as well.
And
I'm not happy, but they will murder me if I say anything. Let me just zip it.
They spend a lot of nights in the sense.
Absolutely.
Night at 1 o'clock when I called Sukumar thinking he's asleep, he says, "Yeah, Babu, what can I do for you?"
We are still live on YouTube. Yashji, you have to stop it.
Okay.
You are the
somebody
host.
has to stop this live streaming.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, you have it. Anyway, thank you so much. Great job, Yash and team. Let's move on with
Continue with the even greater enthusiasm. That's all.
Making sure that our online meetings are slick and really interesting to all the members. And let's move ahead. Great job, guys. Dr. Babu, really bringing in that Gopi Kallayil made a difference to the whole texture of the evening. Great going. But we must have him as a full 1 or 2 hour panel discussion